Care Supplement Insurance Plan.
You may know it only covers about 80% of your Part B medical expenses. The rest is up to you. Call now and find out about an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company. Like all standardized Medicare Supplement Insurance plans, it could save you out-of-pocket medical costs. Call now to request your free decision guide.
I've been with my doctor for 12 years. Now I know I'll be able to stick with them.
You'll be able to visit any doctor or hospital that accepts Medicare patients. Plus, there are no networks and virtually no referrals needed. See why millions of people have already enrolled in the only Medicare supplement insurance plans endorsed by AARP. Don't wait. Call now.
I found my thrill.
He is an American legend with such a distinguished voice and sound, and now the legend Fats Domino is dead at the age of 89. News from New Orleans moments ago. He died on Tuesday. AP writes the following line, Sandra. He stood 5'5", weighed more than 200 pounds, with a wide, boyish smile and a haircut as flat as an album cover. Blueberry Hill, ain't that a shame? He sold more than 110 million records.
Many remembering him on Twitter right now. Harry Connick Jr. just tweeted out, "Rest in peace, Fats Domino. You helped pave the way for New Orleans piano players. See you on top of that Blueberry Hill in the sky,"
wow.
he says.
What a life. Age 89. Fats Domino. Remember you fondly.
The House is planning to vote this week on the Senate's $4 trillion budget, paving the way for tax reform. Earlier, I spoke to House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy. McCarthy, thank you for joining us. Good to see you.
Oh, good to see you, and thanks for having me.
All right, so the big news is the vote on the budget this week happening in the House. Will it pass?
Yes, it will pass. And a vote for the budget is a vote to move tax reform forward. And what's so important here to realize that the House is taking the Senate budget, and the Senate made some changes in there for the House. That speeds up tax more than 2 weeks. So it starts the process faster so we can get this done this year to really help the hardworking taxpayers of America be able to keep more of their own money.
You know, there's a lot of pretty aggressive timelines out there. You're suggesting at this point, if it passes in the House tomorrow, which you expect that it will do, what does the timing look like? There's Thanksgiving estimates out there by some, including the president. Paul Ryan said by Christmas. If it's not, we work over Christmas. When exactly does this get done?
The first and most important thing is to make sure we get it right. This is something that we haven't been working on just a few months. We've been working on it for years because we've been so far behind on our tax code that it's hurt American businesses around the world, and especially small businesses. So what's happening is Ways and Means is preparing to unveil the bill, and when they do, we'll start the process. It'll take them time to mark bill committee, and then it'll come to the floor. But we are committed, and I'm committed to make sure this House stays in until we get this bill done.
So what does it look like as you start to hash out some of the details of this plan, knowing that we've really only been able to look at the framework of it? Where do you start first?
Well, the first part you should look at is what happens to the American individual. Currently today, if you're a single American, the first $6,000 you have is tax-free. Now it will be $12,000. As a couple, that'll go to $24,000. And then you look at small businesses, the big creator, we lower that tax to 25%, the lowest it's been in 80 years. And then when you look at American corporations competing around the world with the highest rate, that goes to 20.
Yeah, and obviously we've seen a lot of optimism out there, including the stock market. A lot of hopes that this gets done, and a lot of benefit everyone in this country. That being said, there's a lot of distraction this week. A lot of tweets from the president back and forth, Senator Corker being one of them. Paul Ryan at the GOP news conference yesterday saying, let's talk about what matters. Listen to this.
The fact is, we have a historic chance of actually fixing this tax code, giving people pay raises, and getting the American economy growing at the rate where we can actually get bigger paychecks, more take-home pay, a healthier economy. That's what matters. So all this stuff you see on a daily basis on Twitter this and Twitter that, forget about it.
There is a lot of stuff out there. Could this be a continued distraction for your party?
Look, I'll tell you, in the House, we're putting people before politics. This is too important for all Americans. This is an American tax bill. This helps all Americans get a tax cut. So we put this first, and we won't let any distraction get in the way of getting the job done.
And the president tweeting this morning, working hard on the biggest tax cut in U.S. history. A great support from so many sides. Big winners will be the class, business, and jobs. So it looks like the president feels like momentum is on his side right now. Congressman McCarthy, I want to get to this House vote on sanctions against Hezbollah and as well as Iran. You say these moves are in line with the president's vow to crack down on the Islamic Republic's non-nuclear malign activities. What is happening with this?
Well, we will vote on that today, but yesterday we just moved sanctions on North Korea. And what we did is we changed the name of that bill to Otto Warmbier. This is the American that North Korea actually murdered simply because he was an American. We've got to make sure these regimes are put into place, that their nuclear weapons cannot continue to send to America. Today we'll take up Iran, and this is exactly what the president's talking about. This is looking at what is Iran doing around the world. Well, they're funding terrorism. They're giving the money to Hezbollah to kill individuals and fund terrorism around the world. And we're putting an end to that, continuing to put the sanctions pressure on so they understand that America, one, will be process, but two, we will not continue to put up with their actions around the world to make it.
The deadline looms on fixing the Iran deal. The president says if it doesn't get fixed, he's withdrawing from it. A few seconds left. Does the president stay in that deal?
Well, we need to fix that. That is a bad deal for all the entire world. And look what has happened since that deal has been made by the past president. I think President Trump is correct. You look around the world to what Iran has been doing, from in Syria with Assad to Hezbollah, the fun of what they're doing, and the testing of their own ballistic missiles. I think that needs to stop, and the president is correct for his actions.
On a busy week, Congressman McCarthy, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
Good stuff there. Watch all of it. John Scott's coming up next on Happening Now, where we'll be watching as well. Good morning, John.
Good morning to you, Bill. There are new twists in the probe of Russia meddling into the 2016 election, with reports the Clinton campaign was partly behind the so-called Trump dossier. What that means to all of the ongoing investigations. Plus, despite an ugly feud between the president and two Republican senators, tax reform is chugging along on Capitol Hill. We'll speak with Congresswoman Diane Black, chair of the House Budget Committee, about the prospects for tax reform.
Right,
2 minutes
Jim.
away.
See you then. Thank you.
Thanks.
Cuba denies it's behind attacks on American diplomats. Why leaders in Havana are calling the allegations science fiction. So why then are Americans coming home with brain damage?
Today, innovation in the Finger Lakes is helping build a new New York. Once home to the world's image center, New York State is now a leader in optics, photonics, and imaging, fueled by strong university partnerships, providing the world's best talent, and supported with workforce development to create even more opportunities. All across New York State, we're building the new New York. To grow your business with us in New York State, visit esd.ny.gov.
Mathesium is the math learning center with over 800 locations. Call us at 844-FUN-MATH. That's 844-FUN-MATH.
And change your child's life forever.
The Bush Sisters on the Daily Briefing. Growing up in the public eye, standing up to criticism, and what being in the first family is really like. Don't miss Dana's special interview today.
How much do you really know about identity theft? $16 billion were stolen from identity fraud victims in 2016 alone. What would you do if this happened to you?
My savings account and my checking accounts were both drained. All of my money was gone.
Millions of smart people protect their identity with LifeLock because technology makes identity theft easier and easier. If you use a smartphone, shop online, use public Wi-Fi, or fill out forms or applications, you're at risk.
I could not believe that somebody would steal my tax refund. It made me angry.
LifeLock members have identity theft protection in place before a problem occurs. If you just monitor your credit, you can miss certain identity theft threats. LifeLock sees more, like if your personal information is sold on the dark web. If we detect a potential threat to your identity, an alert. If there's a problem, a U.S.-based restoration agent will work to fix it.
They know everything that there's no way I could know. I turn it over to LifeLock and they'll help me.
There's a new victim of identity fraud every 2 seconds. 1 in 4 people have experienced it. But LifeLock members are covered by LifeLock's $1 million protection package, including reimbursement of stolen funds and personal expenses up to the limits of your plan. And lawyers and experts, if that's what it takes.
I was covered through my membership, and I received a check for approximately $1,200.
Join today for as low as $9.99 per month and get 30 days free with promo code TRY30. LifeLock members get identity threat detection and alerts, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration agent assigned to your case, and you'll be covered by LifeLock's $1 million protection package. Start your membership today. Enroll in MITS.
Having LifeLock, we didn't feel like victims.
LifeLock. Call 1-800-576-0292 or visit GetLifeLockNow.com. Code TRY30 to get 30 days free and a free shredder annual membership. Call.
So the Cuban government denying reports behind the series of sonic attacks on American diplomats in Havana. State Department saying that 24 Americans suffering headaches and hearing problems, and some of them memory loss. Steve Harrigan's on that story live in Miami. What's the reaction on these sonic attacks, Steve?
Bill, the Cuban government is pushing back hard against any notion of a sonic attack. They're calling it science fiction. They say it's a slander against the Cuban government. They say they've also carried out an exhaustive investigation. More than 2,000 experts. They've taken air samples, soil samples, interviewed more than 300 near the U.S. Embassy. They say not only is there no trace of a sonic attack, they say Cuba simply does not have the technology to carry out any such sonic.
So could this dispute threaten these newly established relations between Washington and Havana, Steve?
Those relations this is the biggest threat to date. 24 U.S. diplomats, dizziness to neurological damage, and the U.S. has already cut its diplomatic staff since these complaints in Havana by more than 60%. They expelled 15 Cuban diplomats as well. And it's gotten worse in recent days. Originally, U.S. diplomats said Cuba directly for the attack, but Cuba is responsible for the safety. Trump has taken it one step further, saying Cuba is. Bill, back to you.
Got it. Okay, Steve. In and out there a little bit. Must be a storm between here in South Florida. Thank you, Steve Harrigan, on that. Sandra, what's next?
Well, we're seeing more fallout in the Russia investigation. New information. That Trump dossier tied to the DNC. That and much more next.
It breaks my heart when I meet a Holocaust survivor who's still today struggling to survive. That's why I founded the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews 35 years ago, because together we can change lives. Call now to help save lives for just $18 a month. That's just 60 cents a day. As the largest humanitarian organization in Israel, already helping over 1 million people every year. But so many more are in need. Won't you help?
I support the fellowship because God promises to bless those who bless Israel.
The fellowship rescues persecuted Jews around the world who are facing great danger and have no resources to flee. Our freedom flights bring them to a new life in Israel. Don't wait any longer. Your gift of just $18 a month is their lifeline. Please call the number on your screen. Thank you and God bless you.
I'm thinking. Many older Americans are in a tough spot right now. They just don't have enough savings to get by. It's the biggest concern. They could be our family, our friends. So, why not use a reverse mortgage loan to access your home's equity? The reverse mortgage loan from AAG uses your built-up home equity to give you cash out. And when you need it in the future, pay it back when it works for you or in one lump sum when you leave the home.
Find out more. Call us today to receive a free information kit complete with DVD presented by Tom Selleck. The kit will help you understand more about a reverse mortgage loan, decide if it's right for you, and the simple ways you need to Call 1-800-816-8176.
I know what you're thinking. Why me? And why AAG? Well, I've done my homework, and I know how dedicated AAG is to helping retirees in a caring, ethical way. I trust them. I think you can too.
Call now for a free, no-obligation information kit and find out how a reverse mortgage can pay for living expenses, medical costs, even credit card bills. Call 1-800-816-8176. That's 1-800-816-8176.
Maybe you want to check it out.
Call 1-800-816-8176.
Grandma, look! Wow. Grandma, there's another one.
Thank you, VSP.
Vision coverage not offered through your employer? Look into affordable individual vision plans.
That's a beautiful
direct from VSP.
Chabelinas, that sounds interesting. Oh, actually, I'll just go with the taquitos. Thank you, VSP.
Vision coverage not offered through your employer? Look into affordable individual vision plans. Direct from VSP.
All right, wait for it. Amazon launching a new service delivering packages right inside your home called Amazon Key. It uses a Wi-Fi connected lock to open your door as a camera records the courier dropping off your package. Amazon says the service will be available in 37 cities starting in November. Rival Walmart is currently testing a similar service in California's Silicon Valley. Would you be so trusting?
Well, I would not. Leave it on the front porch there.
But then
fine.
you're
I'll get it
trusting
when
everyone who drives. I want to take that
I'm
package.
okay with that. I want strangers that come in my door, all the time. Now, you could have cameras set up inside and watch it, but maybe then it's too
The
late.
company's smart. They had to have done some research and saw demand for that service. I have to imagine.
Would you do it? I mean, you got kids at home.
You know what? I order everything online. Yeah, don't go to the store, Bill.
Would you let them come in your front door when you were not
I might
home?
stop there. Yeah, I probably would not.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
That's that.
But what a service. Some people need it, Bill.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, good show.
I mean, pretty soon we're going to be able to use our fingerprints and open the door.
Fox News alert for you on new twists and turns in the Russia investigation.
To say the least.
Interesting.
Yeah.
As we learn who was really behind the infamous Trump dossier, while the the House Speaker calls on the FBI to stop stonewalling. Good morning to you. I'm John Scott.
A lot of news today.
Yes.
This story is changing fast. I'm Melissa Francis. President Trump calling himself the victim after word the hunt for incriminating material on him was originally funded by a Republican during the primary season. Then once Mr. Trump became the nominee, the Clinton campaign and the DNC stepped in, retaining a Washington firm, which is called Fusion GPS, to dig up the dirt.
We believe that we're going to have this matter, I think, fixed within the next week or so, and we believe that we will the financial records of Fusion GPS, because we want to know a few things. Number one, starting with who paid Christopher Steele, did they pay, and if so, how much? And then also, who paid them? Was it Republican donors, Democratic donors, both? Were they on the payroll of any Russian companies? This is all extremely pertinent information to the ongoing Russia investigation.
Peter Ducey is live on Capitol Hill. Peter, what new details do you have?
Melissa, the spy who compiled 35 pages of unverified intel alleging collusion was gathering that information, the sensational claims, on behalf of the Clinton campaign. A Clinton campaign lawyer hired a firm called Fusion GPS, then hired this former British spy, Christopher Steele, and put him on the case. And this newly disclosed money trail means the tables have turned on the Russia storyline, according to Republican allies of President Trump.
It amazes me. For a year, the Democrats have been whining and saying they lost because of the Russians. Now it looks like it's really their subterfuge, their ideas. They're buying this dossier. But also, there are rumors that the leaks that went to WikiLeaks on all the Clinton emails came from the Democrats as well. So it's kind of funny. Everything they blamed on Republicans, it looks like maybe they were the ones responsible for them.
The president himself now tweeting what appears to be a reference to a segment on our air. He wrote this: Clinton campaign and DNC paid for research that led to the anti-Trump fake news dossier. The victim here is the president at Fox News. The lawyer who retained the firm that commissioned this dossier, Mark Elias from the firm Perkins Coie, was also working with the DNC, but the new guard at the DNC says they don't know anything about this, writing, quote, Tom Perez, the new leadership of the DNC, were not involved in any decision-making regarding Fusion GPS, nor were they aware that Perkins Coie was working with the organization. Hillary Clinton's former spokesman, though, not as eager to distance himself from this new revelation. He wrote this: Brian Fallon, I regret I didn't know about Christopher Steele's hiring pre-election. If I had, I would have volunteered to go to Europe and try to help him. There have been a lot of questions since last January about who commissioned this dossier, who wanted it, who paid for it. Now we know it was the Democratic nominee for president's team, and they were trying to damage the Trump campaign. Melissa?
Interesting. Peter Ducey, thank you.
So the link now between the Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee to the Trump dossier could play a crucial role in the current Russia investigation. Trey Gowdy, the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, explains why.
It is relevant who paid for the dossier. It's much more relevant who relied upon it. So my focus has always been whether or not the Department of Justice and the FBI relied upon an unsourced CI document to launch a counterintelligence investigation. So I want to know whether the nation's premier law enforcement agency relied on a document that looked like the National Enquirer prepared it.
Joining us now, Jake Sherman, senior writer for Politico and co-author of Politico's Playbook. Those investigations, those congressional investigations, remain underway, but change the dynamic, Jake. This revelation, the Hillary Clinton and the DNC were essentially paying for this dossier.
Two different. I mean, the Clinton campaign and Democrats somewhat loudly and indignantly said that they had nothing to do with this, they didn't know anything about it, and it was not their work, which has now turned out to be completely false. So that's one political dynamic Democrats will have to contend with, and the DNC is already contending with by distancing itself, it's the new leadership, by distancing itself from the dossier. On the other hand, the special counsel, Robert Mueller, was not appointed because of this dossier. So his investigation is kind of the leading the way here on this issue. Trey Gowdy and the House investigations and the panels paneled up here on Capitol Hill have taken a backseat to the federal investigation. But Paul Ryan saying that the FBI needs to fork over documents is a very significant step, and a lot of lawmakers on Capitol Hill are going to latch on to that, and this is not going to be the last thing we hear, I imagine, from Republican leaders and top Republicans here on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, well, you just teed it up for me. This is the Speaker of the House saying the FBI needs to come clean. Here he is talking to Reuters.
It's really frustrating. We've had these document requests with the administration and the FBI in particular for a long time, and they've been stonewalling. The FBI and the Justice Department needs to give Congress the documents it's been requesting, and they need to do so immediately.
How does the FBI, which is a branch of the administration under the Justice Department, how do they get away with stonewalling on an investigation like this?
This happens all the time in Republican and Democratic administrations where agencies and parts of the government stonewall and do not give documents that the Congress requests. Listen, Congress has subpoenas. And Congress has the ability to really strong-arm agencies and people to giving information. And I imagine with all of this hullabaloo and mess that has come from this dossier, the FBI Department of Justice are not going to have much of a chance to hide and continue to not give these documents to Capitol Hill.
So let's go back over the timeline a little bit, because I think this is interesting. The anti-Trump dossier, or the research at least, apparently started with a opponent of Trump's. That Republican opponent has not been publicly identified yet. Then when it appeared Trump had nomination in the bag, the GPS Fusion organization went to the Democrats and said, hey, we've started this investigation digging up dirt on Donald Trump. Would you like it? And the DNC and the Hillary Clinton campaign essentially said, yes, bring it on. That's when the dossier was prepared and eventually leaked. I have that timeline right, correct?
Well, I don't want to, I don't know the timeline like the back of my hand. That does sound like it's what has been reflected in news stories for the last couple of months. A few things. What Trey Gowdy, you teased this at the top, what he said before is right. I mean, it's problematic if the FBI, Department of Justice, are relying on this information from a private contractor to start a federal investigation.
Right.
It's not problematic, though, for generally speaking. I don't want to positions here, but generally speaking, campaigns pay private organizations to do background checks, to dig up dirt on opponents. That's not abnormal. It would be abnormal, according to Republicans that we speak to on Capitol Hill, if the Justice Department was then take that information and using it in an actionable way. That's what Republicans are going to want to know.
Right, and this Christopher Steele, who apparently provided much information in the dossier, was a former British intel agent the FBI had used him for, trusted him, and that's apparently why they were willing to rely on some of his statements. So the Democratic National Committee is saying, look, Tom Perez was chairman then, and we weren't involved, so therefore we kind of wash our hands of this. Does that wash? Can they get away with that?
Well, I mean, listen, again, paying for intelligence or digging up dirt on people is not especially problematic, I don't think, from a legal perspective or a political perspective. What is problematic is what a lot of people think is Democrats have said they had nothing to do with this for a long time.
Yeah.
Perez was not at the DNC, but if the DNC did in fact pay for it, that's something that Republicans, I'm sure, here on Capitol Hill are going to want to talk to them about.
Maggie Haberman from the New York Times, who is one of the reporters who has worked on this story for a long time, I believe earlier this morning that the Clinton campaign flat out lied about their participation in all of this. Getting very interesting. Going to be,
as always,
work ahead. Jake Sherman, thank you.
Thank you.
From Politico.
Two leaders announcing that they are not running for re-election next year, so impact the Republican agenda in Congress. Plus, tragedy on campus after an altercation during homecoming week at one Louisiana university.
It's a horrible tragedy, nothing that anybody would ever want to have happen.
Did you know that silver is one of the world's most useful commodities, second only to oil? You could invest in an oil field, or you can buy silver, the world's miracle metal. With endless uses in green energy, electronics, and medicine, discover why the experts say silver is the new oil.
Silver is actually my favorite investment, particularly at this price.
I think silver is going to $200 an ounce. I love silver.
Call Lear Capital at 1-800-262-1881 to get this special report, Vanishing Silver and Experts DVD. Plus, first-time callers also get this 1-gram silver bar free. Discover why Rich Dad Poor Dad's best-selling author Robert Kiyosaki loves silver and why these experts see silver as a win-win investment. Learn how to protect and grow your hard-earned savings. Remember, first-time callers get this 1-gram silver bar free. This offer ends soon. Call 1-800-262-1881. 1-800-262-1881.
Every time I smiled, I had to cover my mouth because I was so ashamed. When the denture slipped, I would have to excuse myself and go to the restroom virtually in tears. It kept me from being able to speak properly. I could not eat corn, apples, baby back ribs. I did not want dentures to be part of my life. I pretty much decided Clear Choice was the route I was going to take.
Let's do a head-to-head comparison of dental implants versus dentures. With dentures, the ability to taste food, to bite and chew is altered. The worst thing about dentures, bone loss. When you put an implant inside the bone, which is like the root of a tooth, now you preserve the bone. It's a game changer. With implants, you walk into a restaurant, order anything you want. You eat just like you have real teeth.
Before you knew it, here I was with my brand new teeth.
Schedule your free consultation today. We'll even talk about financing options.
I can smile, my confidence is back.
Call Clear Choice today.
If you have Medicare, I have 3 things you'll want here. There's an all-in-one Medicare Advantage plan from Humana. It includes Medicare Part D prescription drug coverage, and it may save you money in so many ways. It's all in this book, and it's yours free just for calling. You'll see all the ways the plan might save you money, even on prescription drugs. In fact, last year, Humana Medicare Advantage prescription drug plan members saved an estimated $6,500 on average on their prescription costs. And you get all this coverage with an affordable monthly plan premium, and some areas, no plan premium. Even if you've looked at Humana before, you need to take another look at this plan. We'll send you the decision guide absolutely free, in a slightly smaller size, of course. Discover the all-in-one Medicare Advantage plan that could cut your costs and cover your prescriptions. Call 1-800-372-2119 or go to humanabigbook.com. The savings are too big to miss.
Well, right now, a student and his friend are dead after a shootout at Grambling University in Louisiana during homecoming week. It happened shortly after midnight. A female student called campus police to report a loud argument in the dorm area. By the time police arrived, it was too late. Both victims were declared dead at the scene.
There's no place for violence on the Grambling State University campus. We always encourage our students to be safe, to be aware, to watch who they hang out with, and to watch who's around at all times. And this is a most unfortunate situation.
The shooter remains a mystery. Police say they're interviewing witnesses. They believe the shooter is still at large.
Breaking developments after another Republican senator says that he is not running for re-election. Arizona Senator Jeff Flake made the announcement on the Senate floor in 1 month after Tennessee Senator Bob Corker said he's not running next year. So what will it mean to President Trump's tax plan?
I think whether or not the tax bill passes, I think it will pass, will rise and fall with the merits of that piece of legislation. Bob Corker is not going to vote against a good bill because he doesn't like the president. Jeff Flake is not going to go to vote against a good bill because he doesn't like the president. So I'm too concerned about that.
Joining me now is Ari Fleischer, who was press secretary to George W. Bush. He's also a Fox News contributor. What do you think of that sound that you just heard?
Well, that's exactly. I spent some 17 years on Capitol Hill, and people don't vote on the basis of their relationships to one another. They vote on the basis of the policies that are before them. If you relationshipable, then John McCain would have voted to repeal Obamacare, the Lindsey Graham version, because he and Lindsey are such good friends. They don't vote that way. They vote on policy.
Yeah. So, the president's enemies and those on the left are making a lot of, there's all this infighting and, people can't stand by President Trump, the way that he's behaving. A lot of writers looking at it through a different lens. You look at Politico, the headline, Trump purges enemies and reshapes GOP. Axios, virtually every Republican now a Trump Republican. I mean, is he gaining a majority and creating a consensus by getting rid of, sort of, the people who don't like him?
Too soon to say, but this is what happens when presidents take over parties. They do start to reshape the party more in their own image. Keep in mind, in the Republican primary for president of the 16 candidates, 80% of the votes from the first caucus of the last primary went for Donald Trump and Ted Cruz, the two outsiders, the two people that the insiders, the establishment, hated the most, did best. It is a changing party. The ramifications of it are unknown. We don't know how far it will go. But make no mistake, Donald Trump is reshaping the party for better or for worse. And I think for most people who vote in the Republican Party primary, they think it's for better.
Yeah. I mean, I've listened to commentators say, President Trump, you're running out of friends, that he's attacking people that are supposed to be on his side, and that it's going to make it harder for him to get his agenda through. If you had to compare today to the day that he took office before he tried health care, do you think he's in better shape for getting his agenda through?
He's in worse shape, and the reason is because his popularity is down. When he began as president, he had a 45% approval, and now it's in the high 30s on average approval. The more popular a president is, the more easy it is to convince people, particularly Democrats who are running for re-election in Trump states, to be for you. If your unfavorables are high and your favorables are low, you have less moral sway. But what happened in those speeches, Melissa, last year, particularly Senator Flake's speech, it was cotton candy for the cable networks, especially those who don't like Donald Trump. They heralded it as the most significant speech ever. Listen to Jeff Flake. How can anybody support what Donald Trump is doing? Flake is right. But for most voters, and that's where the party is, they thought Flake was wrong. And the evidence of that is he probably couldn't win in a race in Arizona, and that's why he's getting out.
Yeah. You know, I struggle with those favorable numbers because I feel like, I think a lot of our audience probably feels still burned by the polls from the last election. And there are those who say all those things are meant to influence, not to reflect what's going on. Do you really believe in the favorables as they're said today?
I believe in the trends. Whether the numbers are right or not, whether he started 45 indeed and he's down to 39 today, point. The trend of all the polls is going in the wrong direction. And presidents just enhance their ability to enact policies the more popular they are. One of the facts of the Trump presidency, he's been tremendously popular with his base, with 35% of the country. But a president wants to grow that. You really want to expand your coalition in addition to maintaining it. He's maintained it nicely. Expanding it is a top priority, in my opinion, if Donald Trump wants to enact more laws.
You know, when I talk to people in the administration on background, they say that they feel more confident right now than ever before about getting tax policy by. And they feel more confident about this than, you know, anything they have had so far. When I ask them, what do you think are the real chances? Do you hear that same thing, and do you feel the same way about him getting tax policy through?
I do. I've been talking to a number of members of Congress and the Senate as well about this, and they recognize this tax reform is pass-fail.
Yeah.
If they don't get it done, what do they have to show? What is the purpose of our government if they cannot act on things that Republicans promised for decades? If they get it done, I predict to you, Congress's favorable numbers are going to go up, the president's will go up, and more importantly, the economy can boom again, which helps middle-income people and low-income people the most. That's what this job is about ultimately. And this exercise in tax reform is pass-fail. If Congress fails to get done, they're going to be in huge trouble, because then what's the point? Why are they there?
Yeah, I guess that's why you're a messaging master, because that's exactly it. It's pass or fail. Yeah. Thank you, sir. See you soon.
Thank you.
Well, in the middle of words between President Trump and Senators Flake and Corker, Republicans try to put the focus back on tax reform. A key congresswoman joins us next. Plus, day 3 of the Kate Steinle murder trial. Witnesses recounting what happened on a San Francisco pier 2 years ago. What one woman captured in a picture she took prior to the shooting.
Well, today is about the Steinle family and the incredible resolve they've shown through this entire process. And we're going to do everything we can to bring the family justice.
So you think this chip, nothing to worry about? Well, SafeLight, we know sooner or later, every chip will crack. These friends were on a trip when their windshield got chipped. So they scheduled at SafeLight.com. They didn't have to change their plans or worry about a thing. I'll see you in a little bit. And I fixed it away with a strong repair they can trust. Plus, with most insurance, a SafeLight repair is no cost to you. Really? Being there whenever you need us, that's another SafeLight advantage.
SafeLight repair, SafeLight replace.
Stop right there. I'm about to pop a cap fresh washer with Unstoppables in-wash scent boosters by Dell. And if you want, pour a little more. Oh, it's so fresh. And gonna last from wash to wear for up to 12 weeks. Right? Freshness of weeks. Unstoppables by Downy. For fresh too feisty to quit.
Millions of you are online right now searching one topic. That will generate over 600 million results. And if you've been diagnosed with cancer, searching for answers, like where to treat, can feel even more overwhelming. So start your search with a specialist at Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Start with teams of cancer treatment experts under one roof. Start where specialists use advanced genomic testing to guide precision cancer treatment that may lead to targeted therapies and more treatment options. Start where there's a commitment to analyzing the latest research and conducting clinical trials to help each patient get the personalized cancer care they deserve. Start at one of the Cancer Treatment Centers of America hospitals near you. The evolution of cancer care is here. Learn more at cancercenter.com/experts. Appointments available now.
Obama's uranium scandal, Clinton's email investigation.
We have brand new details as we continue to expose the truth.
It's a powerful entity you can't miss tonight.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
What if you could lose fat in just a few hours?
I don't know what to say. I'm just in shock.
You can with Sono Bello.
It seems no matter how much you work out or diet, there are parts of your body that just don't seem to change.
I went to the gym, I worked out at home, I bought videos. No matter what I did, that bulge was still there.
With its advanced micro laser technology,
Sono Bello gently removes that targeted fat and shapes your body for life-changing results.
as America's #1 cosmetic surgery specialist, Sono Bello has performed over 100,000 personalized body and facial procedures, helping tens of thousands of people change their lives.
After 5 years to get rid of that roll of fat, Sono Bello did it in one day.
Call for your free no-obligation consultation today. Get $250 off your Sono Bello body.
Payment plans are available.
Call 317-1425 or go to sonobello.com.
Day 3 now in the murder trial of an illegal immigrant charged with killing Kate Steinle. Witnesses describing what they saw 2 years ago on a San Francisco pier as the defendant, Jose Zarate, walked away after the gunshot that killed Kate Steinle. Witnesses say he stood out because nearly everyone else either appeared confused or was running toward the scene. Earlier in the day, Michelle Lowe told the jury that she remembered Zarate spinning around in a chair, quote, grinning and laughing. And as she and her family walked along the pier, she said she heard a scream and she saw a woman on the ground. Lowe said she took pictures of the pier before the shooting, showing Zarate sitting in that chair and another showing Steinle walking near him. Steinle's father testifying Monday that before his daughter died, she asked him for help, and those were her last words. While the prosecution says the shooting was intentional, the defense claims it was an accident that happened when Zarate stumbled upon the gun that killed Kate Steinle.
Well, just in, as Republican Senators Flake and Corker hit President Trump, White House Budget Director Mulvaney says he's still confident Republicans will close ranks and pass a tax plan by the end of the year.
You're optimistic tonight?
Yeah, very much so. More so than I was yesterday after I found out the House was looking to accept the Senate package on Thursday.
And by the end of the year?
Yeah, in fact, I think, again, more likely today than it was yesterday.
Let's bring in Tennessee Congresswoman Diane Black, the House Budget Committee and Republican candidate for governor of Tennessee. Do you share Mick Mulvaney's optimism, Congresswoman?
I do. I think there is a very good chance that at least here in the House, where we do our work, that we are going to a product out by before Thanksgiving.
But there has been so much infighting within the Republican Party. We'll get to more of that on the Senate side in a moment, but there's been an awful lot of infighting within your party. Can you close ranks and come up with a budget and a tax plan?
I don't know where the infighting is in the House of Representatives because we still have discussions going, but we all agree that tax reform is a once-in-a-generation opportunity to give people their money back, the hard-earned taxpayer money that they need to have in their pockets rather than the government to spend that money. And so we are really working very hard within our Committee of Ways and Means to make sure that we have a product out to our members and they can see that product, and we're going to get that product done before Thanksgiving.
You sell it as, putting money back in the hands of taxpayers, but by and large, the Democrats don't see it the same way. Why?
Well, I don't know what they're looking at, and many times when they do talk about where they think that the money is going, when I look at their numbers are not correct. I don't even know why at this point in time that they can really give you a scenario because they don't have all the information. But I can tell you what we're doing in our Ways and Means Committee to make sure that those of the middle income and the lower income are given relief from taxes. Absolutely everybody pays more taxes than what they should, but our emphasis really is on that middle and lower income.
Well, some of the experts have looked at some of the proposals that are out there, and they say, hey, it's possible that even some middle-class taxpayers could see their taxes increase as a result of this. What's your thought on that?
Again, the numbers that they're using, and I've seen these numbers, the numbers that they're using are without even knowing where the brackets are, without even knowing where the income limits are. And so until you know that, whatever you put out there is, I guess, fake news, tax reform. I can just tell you, sitting in the committee and doing the work for over 7 years now on getting a program, a plan out there that we are emphasizing, and that is our goal, is to make sure that the middle and lower income taxpayers get a relief. As I say, everybody pays too much.
You are quoted as saying that if some of the senators who are sitting in the Senate now cannot support the president's agenda, they should just go home. Are you referring to Bob Corker and perhaps Jeff Flake of Arizona?
I'm not referring to anybody specifically, but I will say again, if you're not doing the job and they haven't done the job, we've given them the repeal and replace. Frankly, I still don't understand why you couldn't have given us something back on that, but they have 12 appropriations bills. They have a repeal of Dodd-Frank. These are all things that are important to the American people. And if not doing their work, then, maybe retirement is the thing they need to do so we can get some people in the Senate that will actually do their work and do what the American people sent us here to do. I understand the frustration by the president. I've talked to the president and the vice president about our tax reform. They're very much aboard with us getting this done before Christmas holiday.
Congresswoman Diane Black, Republican of Tennessee. Thanks very much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you.
Nearly 1 year after President Trump won the White House, there's new research on how Americans are feeling and why their attitude is the same regardless of party affiliation. I was really surprised by this, and our panel is going to weigh in. Plus, the widow of one soldier killed in Nigeria now speaking out. What she has to say about the president's response. We're live with the story.
It really is a kindness to call and just say, I'm sorry.
I think what's most important to my viewers is ensuring that America remains a country with its own voice, its own traditions, its own history. I've learned a lot from the Fox audience over the years. They can cut through clutter. They can spot a phony a mile away. Most people, when you push past all the left-right nonsense, will come at issues from a pragmatic stance, and that's what I'm going to do. Don't miss Ingram Angle, premiering October 30th on the Fox News Channel.
I would like to take a moment to address my fellow veterans, because I know there are so many of you who have served your country honorably, whether it's 2 years, 4 years, or 32 years like myself. One of the benefits that we as a country give you as a veteran is your eligibility for a VA loan. Not 80%, but 100% value of your home. And that's what you can get at New Day USA.
Go to newdayusa.com or call 1-844-647-6712. It's a new day for veterans who need money for their family. Home values are going up and home equity lending is back. That's me. New Day USA has helped thousands of veterans close in as little as 30 days through their valuable VA home loan.
That's me.
Cash to pay credit cards, cash for retirement, or cash just to put in the bank. It's a new day in lending, and for veterans who need money, that can mean a lot.
That's me.
Call New Day USA at 1-844-647-6712.
There's nothing more important than your health. So if you're on Medicare, or will be soon, you may want more than parts A and B. Here's why. Medicare only covers about 80% of your Part B medical expenses. The rest is up to you. You might want to consider an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company. Like any Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan, these help pick up some of what Medicare doesn't pay. And these plans let you choose any doctor or hospital that accepts Medicare patients. You could stay with a doctor or specialist you trust, or go with someone new. You're not stuck in network, because there aren't any. So don't wait. Call now to request your free decision guide and find the AARP Medicare Supplement Plan that works for you. There are a range to choose from, depending on your needs and your budget. Rates are competitive. And they're the only plans of their kind endorsed by AARP. Like any of the types of plans, they let you apply whenever you want. There's no enrollment window, no waiting to apply. So call now. Remember, Medicare supplement plans help cover some of what Medicare doesn't pay. You'll be able to choose any doctor or hospital that accepts Medicare patients. Whether you're on Medicare now or turning 65 soon, it's a good time to get your ducks in a row. Call to request your free decision guide now, because the time to think about tomorrow is today.
Far beyond the ordinary exists the unforgettable. The Alfa Romeo Stelvio, the first sport utility vehicle created by Alfa Romeo.
When heartburn hits, fight back fast with Tums Chewy Bites. Fast relief in every crunchy outside, chewy inside. Tums Chewy Bites.
There's new information on the deadly attack on our soldiers in Niger, with the widow of another fallen soldier speaking out now, revealing what she wants to know about the ambush and what she thinks of President Trump. Trace Gallagher live from Fort Bragg in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Trace.
Hi, John. The first thing I asked Michelle Black was about her two boys, her 9 and 11-year-old son. She said they're coping with that. She also wants the world to know that her husband was more than just a special forces soldier, that he was a great athlete, that he was an artist, and that he was a great chess player and spoke 3 languages, including the local in Niger, which made him somewhat of a celebrity on the ground. Mostly, she said, he was just a great father and husband. Listen.
I know that I married a true hero, whether it would have been on the battlefield or just in general. When you have true moral integrity and you care that much for people, that you're willing to put your life on the line, you're a hero, whether it's over there or here.
Yeah, he's a hero. She talks about how knit the military community is, and as hard as it was for her to lose her husband, she also agonized over the deaths of the other 3 soldiers because she knows their families, their wives, and their children. She is following the investigation, but she's not watching the news every day. The military is kind of giving her some guidance. She said at some point she will want all of the answers, but right now it's not going to bring her husband back. She is very aware of the controversy surrounding the president and his conversation with another of the Gold Star wives, but she said, quite frankly, she had a different experience. Watch. So you're satisfied?
I'm satisfied. Yeah, I'm very grateful that he called and he spoke to the kids, and I think just the excitement from that made it a little better, even if it was just for a minute. So, yeah, he's very gracious, and I appreciate anyone who calls, because, like I said, that takes quite a bit of bravery to call into that kind of situation.
Yeah, not just the president's bravery, but also around the country, they were really emboldened by the fact that they just had such outpouring of love and kindness from people that they did not know. John.
The grief is so palpable, and her husband sounds like a remarkable soldier. Wow. Trace Gallagher, thank you.
Just in on the mood of the electorate. New research finding that Americans, regardless of party affiliation, seem to have a negative attitude right now. Have you noticed that? The LA Times writing about the nonpartisan Pew Research Center study, we found that more than 6 in 10 Americans polled say they believe their side is losing more than winning on the issues that matter most, and only about 1 in 4 think their side is mostly winning. That attitude might not be surprising from Democrats, who with the election no longer control any branch of the federal government. More strikingly, also think they're getting the short end of the stick. Joining me now is Atima Amara. She is Democratic strategist and former president of Young Democrats of America, and Cabot Phillips, media director, campusreform.org. and former digital director of Marco Rubio's presidential campaign. Both of you for joining us. Atima, what do you make of this?
Well, like I said, I don't think it's actually very surprising, Melissa, that Democrats are feeling a little down. I mean, obviously, we didn't win the White House. We didn't control Congress. A lot of things that we care about legislatively are being turned around, such as the EPA, such as health care. But on the Republican side, it's actually also not surprising. I mean, if you're a Republican with controlling Congress and you have the White House, you're thinking, oh, this would be all this great legislation that's passed. That hasn't happened for the GOP, even though they've been in control for the last 10 months. Lots of cabinet resignations, staff shakeups. And Democrats have been picking up seats in special elections for state legislators in areas where Trump has won. Yesterday, he's had 2 U.S. senators rebuke him and say that they were no longer going to run. So, this is unprecedented for a president of any party in any first year.
Cabot, do you agree with that characterization?
I don't think I definitely agree the Democrats should feel like they're losing because they are losing, and they're going to continue to lose if they continue to push this narrative that they've gone after. But when it comes to Republicans, I don't necessarily think this is a bad mindset to have. There's nothing more dangerous in politics than complacency. And when people begin to feel as if, okay, we're winning, the fight's over, they don't donate to campaigns, they don't go knock doors, they don't go to the polls, especially in midterms. So I think it's actually smart for Republicans to not let their foot off the gas and for President Trump to keep that narrative of we have to keep pushing and then we can start winning, because that's what's going to keep people motivated. That's what's going to get them to have that, that motivating force behind getting out and making a difference.
That's a great point, and it's true, and it could be motivating to both sides. But Atima, I wonder, I talk to a lot of people who are just exhausted by the rancor on every side. And the fact that it's become so personal for so many people and so many families that they're just tired of sort of all that negativity and back and forth. And maybe no matter what your political persuasion is, that's what they're feeling.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's certainly after, the 16 elections, it's Congress has low percentage rating for a reason, lower than the president. And a lot has happened legislatively, certainly not in the last 10 months. And I think that folks are feeling like, regardless of political affiliation, can we get some things done? Because there are things to get done in this country, focusing on the economy, improving health care, things that matter to everyday Americans. And when that's not happening, folks are like, well, this is rather exhausting talking about politics to begin with.
Maybe government is just not the solution. That both sides are looking for the government to solve problems, and they're actually not good at that. What do you think about that, Cabot?
I agree. I think many Americans feel as if they want the government to just get out of the way, let them live their lives. If that's the solution, then Republican elected officials are the ones that should be getting into office if people feel as if they want less government. But when it comes to another reason that people, when it comes to another reason people feel this way and they feel as if they're losing, especially on the right, I think the mainstream media is to blame. Let's be honest. President Trump could pass, had success after success, and the mainstream media would still have the same narrative that it's chaos, he's nearing impeachment, their country is about to go off the edge, because they're not going to cover it publicly, or they're not going to cover it positively, I should say. They've already made up their mind. And so when people turn on the TV and all they see is negativity surrounding the administration, surrounding Republicans in general, they're going to be a lot more likely to feel as if they're failing, even if there are small victories. We can't let the foot off the gas. Republicans absolutely need to pass tax reform.
Maybe we're a glass half full society, Atima, though. I mean, maybe we're just pessimistic right now.
I wouldn't be surprised if we are pessimistic. I obviously think that on both the aisle, we're looking at what's not getting done. Gabbett says, if Republicans want government to get out of the way and Republicans to get elected, they are elected. And right now, they can't get anything done even to enact the policies that they say would help government get out of the way.
It's tough to get things done when the Democrats are filibustering every single thing.
Maybe we just need a good Halloween party. I mean, let's just have some candy, put on some costumes.
I can agree to that.
I would totally be okay with that.
Let's look on the bright side or have a cocktail. I like all those ideas. All right, guys. Thanks to both of you.
Thanks, Melissa.
So more on the story we just mentioned, the U.S. military giving more insight on the ambush that killed 4 American soldiers in Niger. As more questions on the attack, our guest weighs in.
There's so many bits and pieces of information that are coming out, some speculations.
psoriatic arthritis tries to get in my way, watch me.
I've tried lots of things for my joint pain. Now, watch me.
Okay, give up showing these guys how it's done, please.
Real people with active psoriatic arthritis are changing the way they fight it. They're moving forward with Cosentyx. It's a different kind of targeted biologic. It's proven to help people less joint pain and clearer skin. Don't use if you are allergic to Cosentyx. Before using Cosentyx, you should be checked for tuberculosis. Increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms of an infection, or if you have received vaccine or plan to. If you have inflammatory bowel disease, tell your doctor symptoms. Serious allergic reactions may occur.
With less joint pain, watch me.
For less joint pain and clearer skin, ask your rheumatologist about Cosentyx.
You know what I'm thinking? Why not use it? I mean, we're talking about $6 trillion here. That's a whole lot of cash out there people are just sitting on. Many older Americans are in a tough spot right now. They just don't have enough savings to get by. It's their biggest concern. They could be our family, our friends. And then there's that $6 trillion. That's the amount retired homeowners have already paid into their homes. It comes down to an average of more than $200,000 per senior household. So, why not use a reverse mortgage loan to access that equity?
Find out more. Call us today to receive a free information kit complete with a DVD presented by Tom Selleck. Kit will help you understand more about a reverse mortgage, decide if it's right for you, and the simple ways you need to qualify. Call 1-800-815-1955.
The reverse mortgage loan from AAG uses your built-up home equity to give you cash now, and when you need it in the future. Pay it back or in one lump sum when you leave the home.
Call now for a free, no-obligation kit to find out how a reverse mortgage loan can pay for living expenses, medical bills, even credit card bills. Call 1-800-815-1955.
I know what you're thinking. Why me? And why AAG? Well, I've done my homework, and I know how dedicated AAG is to helping retirees in a caring, ethical way. I trust them. I think you can too.
If you're 62 or older and own your home, the info kit will show you how to access your home's equity to give you cash when you need it. It'll eliminate those monthly mortgage payments and give you the extra money to renovate the home or pay off bills. Call 1-800-815-1955.
Breaking now on the deadly ambush in Niger. The U.S. military says it believes someone, a local, off attacker the ambush that killed 4 American soldiers earlier this month. Meanwhile, officials are hoping the investigation will help them understand why it took so long to evacuate the wounded.
When they requested support, it took the French aircraft. The French were ready to go in 30 minutes. Then it took them 30 minutes, approximately 30 minutes to get on the scene. But it's important to note that when they didn't ask for support for the first hour, my judgment would be that unit thought it could handle the situation without additional support.
Michael O'Hanlon is the director of Foreign Policy Rings Institution. The belief is that this American team, while we know that they were accompanied by soldiers from Niger who were looking for an Al-Qaeda recruiter, an ISIS recruiter in that part of the country, somewhere in there the mission got changed, and that's where things apparently started to go south, Michael.
Yes, although I'm not surprised, and I think that sort of just a common sense street, judgment would be when you're in a war, and this is a war across many different countries, even if we haven't seen a lot of U.S. action previously in Niger. When you're in this kind of a conflict, you're going to have ambushes every so often. The enemy is sometimes going to figure out that he wants to attack you when he sees you coming, and maybe he gets information you didn't think he would have. So in the the specifics of what happened here, certainly we need to go back and learn so it doesn't happen again. In the grand scheme of things, I have to say I'm very sad, but also a little philosophical, that this is the sort of thing that is occasionally going to happen in a traditional struggle against extremism. And we know that with Boko Haram in northern Nigeria and other affiliates in that area, this is not a part of the world that's been spared such threats, and it won't be in the future either.
The patrol stopped in a village in Niger to ask for some local information. Apparently they got some supplies. They were looking again for this ISIS recruiter. And the feeling is that somebody in that village tipped off local thugs as to the location of this patrol. The thugs came after them on motorcycles with machine guns, with rocket-propelled grenades, and apparently more firepower than the Americans and the Niger troops were able to muster to fight them off. That being the case, what do you do? Do you go back and look for this informant, or do you just, try to learn a lesson?
Well, I think you have to assume in this kind of a situation that not everybody in a given village is going to be friendly. I don't know why we would have assumed they would be. I'm not saying that was the American judgment on the ground, but some of the press commentary and discussion around this right now somehow seems surprised could be a tipster. There are unfriendlies, in this kind of a situation, this kind of a strategy everywhere you operate. If for no other reason than the enemy may put them there. The enemy may have planted these kind of people, knowing that even if we weren't coming after them, that the Niger troops themselves might be. So that's the kind of thing I would worry about.
It's the kind of thing our Green Berets do a lot, go out in small patrols. Is this going to be the way that they operate? Are we going to be looking at, more aerial assets, more cover for our troops who are in that very, torn part of the world? Michael? It appears Michael, you able to hear me? It appears we've lost our connection to Michael O'Hanlon from the Brookings Institution. We apologize for that, but again, our just hearts are with those soldiers and their families who lost their lives trying to make Niger a better place and trying to fight off the thugs and the warlords from ISIS who have taken over parts of that country.
War on terror far from over, but U.S.-led forces are gaining the upper hand against ISIS. What's the next step? Plus, police issue a traffic ticket to this man for what he was doing in his car.
Were you screaming in your car?
I was singing.
We're singing.
Yeah, I was singing. Everybody dance now. Everybody dance now.
I was a good soldier. I had purpose, and I loved it.
You never told me you were a hero.
You are my hammer out there. Don't let these young guys see you fold.
I'm only human, make mistakes. I'm only human, all it takes to put the pain on me.
Thank you for looking after my son.
We're brothers. We look after each other.
Thank you for your service. Rated R. In theaters Friday.
Booking a flight at the last minute doesn't have to be expensive. Just go to Priceline. It's the best place to book a flight a few days before my trip and still save up to 40%. Just tap and go. For the best savings on flights, go to Priceline.
Hey, Janet.
Kim, can you suggest house painters? Awesome. I'll take one of your top 4 guys and background checks and reviews for each of them.
You can't expect your neighbors to do everything Home Advisor can. So to find and book a top-rated home pro for free, just ask Home Advisor.
The Bush Sisters on the Daily Briefing. Growing up in the public eye, standing up to criticism, and what being in the first family is really like. Dennis Dana's special interview today.
Is your body storing fat more easily? Do you suffer from a lack of energy? The draining side effects of restless sleep? How about an increase in wrinkles and even saggy skin?
Hi, I'm Kim Dennis, and as a beauty expert always on the hunt for the next great breakthrough, when I heard about a youth hormone that was associated with reducing body fat, increasing lean muscle mass, and even reducing the appearance of wrinkles, I just had to learn more. I'm talking about human growth hormone, or HGH, and as early as our mid-20s, our natural production of HGH begins to drop dramatically. Here's the good news. Finally, there's Serovital.
Serovital is the first and only amino acid complex shown in a clinical trial to trigger the body's own natural release of HGH from the pituitary gland and increase mean HGH levels by an astonishing 682%.
HGH has been associated with reducing body fat, reducing the appearance of wrinkles, improving sleep, and even boosting energy. As a doctor and a woman, I am very excited that now I can tell you everywhere about Serovital.
Serovital boosts your HGH naturally and at a fraction of the cost of painful injections. Serovital sells for $9 in stores. But call right now because we're letting as many women as possible try Serovital for 30 days absolutely risk-free. Plus, call in the next 6 minutes and we'll also include free shipping. You owe it to yourself to try Serovital for 30 days. It's absolutely risk-free.
Serovital is a true scientific breakthrough, 20 years in the making.
Get the facts at myserovital.com. Supplies are limited. Call 800-916-2023 or go to myserovital.com for your risk-free trial today.
Coming up, the top of the hour on Outnumbered bombshell story as we're learning that Hillary Clinton's campaign and the DNC paid for that dossier claiming Trump's campaign had ties to Democrats are saying it was just opposition research. Others say it was outright smear. We'll debate.
And another establishment Republican saying he will not run again. Senator Jeff Flake slamming the president and Mr. Trump, going right back at him. So is the president remaking the Republican Party? We will hash that one out too.
Such a busy day. And in the House, BK, study the officials, you'll figure it out. Hashtag one lucky guy, top of the hour. See you then.
All right, now ISIS losing its stronghold on key cities in Syria. The Pentagon says a new strategy is largely the reason for the success. Jennifer Griffin live with an update from the Pentagon. Jennifer.
General Joe Dunford, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, hosted more than 70 defense chiefs outside Washington yesterday to discuss what comes next in the ISIS fight after the fall of Raqqa.
This is an inflection point. It's not the end of the campaign. The next phase for us more broadly is to expand our information and intelligence sharing, which was a strong theme today, again, to make sure that we cut that connective tissue.
President Trump's envoy to the ISIS coalition says changes by the new administration sped up the Islamic State's downfall, including arming Syria's Kurds.
It's moving faster, more efficiently, more effectively. Pretty significant changes made in terms of delegations of authorities. A very important decision was made back in May about how to prosecute the Raqqa campaign that the president made, which allowed us, I think, to complete Raqqa operations.
But former Defense Secretary Ash Carter said the administration simply carried out a plan designed by the Obama administration.
The plan was laid out 2 years ago. And has been executed pretty much in the manner and on the schedule that was foreseen then. And again, the credit goes to, first and foremost, our military for carrying that out. I was always looking for ways to accelerate it. And Joe Dunford, the chairman, and I were doing that.
ISIS now controls just 3% of Iraq and only 5% of Syria. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson traveled to Baghdad this week in an effort to defuse tensions between Iraqi forces, some backed by Iran, and the Kurds to keep Iraq from falling into a civil war and preventing outside groups from filling the vacuum in areas now free of ISIS. Today, about 6,500 ISIS fighters remain in Iraq and Syria, down from tens of thousands 2 years ago. John.
Let's hope we can mop up the rest of them. Jennifer Griffin, thank you.
A Montreal man in traffic court today contesting a ticket for singing while driving. It seems he was heading home when the 90s Billboard hit Gonna Make You Sweat came on his music player. So he started singing along to Everybody Dance Now. You got it. You can do it in your head. That's when cops stopped him. That's coming up next.
I would like to take a moment, veterans, because I know there are so many of you who have served your country honorably. It's 2 years, 4 years, or 32 years like myself. One of the benefits that we as a country give you as a veteran is your eligibility for a VA loan. Not 80%, but 100% the value of your home, and that's what you can get at New Day USA.
Go to newdayusa.com or call 1-877-717-4613.
I have asthma, one of many pieces in my life. So when my asthma symptoms kept coming back on my long-term control medicine, I talked to my doctor and found a missing piece in my asthma treatment with Brio.
Once daily Brio prevents asthma symptoms. Brio's for adults with asthma not well controlled on a long-term asthma control medicine, like an inhaled corticosteroid. Brio won't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden breathing problems. Specifically designed to open up airways to improve breathing for a full 24 hours. It contains a type of medicine that increases the risk of death from asthma problems and may increase the risk of in children and adolescents. Brio is not for people whose asthma is well controlled on a long-term asthma control medicine, like an inhaled corticosteroid. Once your asthma is well controlled, your doctor will decide if you can stop Brio and prescribe a different asthma control medicine, like an inhaled corticosteroid. Do not take Brio more than prescribed. See your doctor if your asthma does not improve or gets worse.
Ask your doctor if 24-hour Brio would be a missing piece for you.
See if you're eligible to pay no more than $10 a month.
At Humana, we believe great things are ahead of you when you start with healthy. And part of staying healthy means choosing a plan. Humana can help. With Original Medicare, you're covered for hospital stays and doctor office visits when you're sick, but keep in mind you'll have to pay a deductible for each. A Medicare supplement plan can cover your deductibles and co-insurance, but you may pay higher premiums than you do with other plans, and prescription drug coverage isn't included. But with an all-in-one Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you could get all that coverage plus Part D prescription drug benefits, all for an affordable monthly plan premium, and in some areas, no plan premium. It's all described in this free book and DVD. Call for yours and discover how an all-in-one Medicare Advantage plan from Humana could save you money. Call 1-855-288-4170. That's 1-855-288-4170. Now.
Harris meeting clients from far away. They only see his wrinkles. If only Harry used some bounce to dry, he would be a less wrinkly winning guy.
Every night we're going to hit the big issues of the day and some surprising notes from all angles. That means Heartland America, you have a champion. Your voice will be heard. Don't miss the Ingram Angle, premiering October 30th on the Fox News Channel.
It is worth it to see John dance. So that is what he was singing at full blast in his car. I mean, who hasn't done that? Yeah. We've all done that. We don't want to admit it. I didn't sound good. Did you sound good singing that when you did?
No. I can't reach those highs.
Okay, so, and here's what they told him, what police officer told him. Listen.
They asked me if I screamed. I said, no, I was just singing. He said, okay, I need your driving license.
And they gave him a ticket, and they fined him more than $100. He's fighting it. Can you imagine?
You're not supposed to text while driving, but singing while driving, what's the problem? Come on.
There is a short distance between singing at the top of your lungs and screaming sometimes, I guess. There you go. Thanks for joining us.
Outnumbered starts right now.
Fox News Alert, we want to bring you the latest estimate from the Congressional Budget Office. This is a preliminary estimate, or a SOAR, I should say, on the Alexander Murray Healthcare Market Stabilization Bill. It would cut $3.8 billion from the deficit over the next 9 years. That is one major bullet point coming out of this. Two, it will not have any significant impact, or it will not see significant change the number of insured. Those are the two big ones. Deficit by $3.8 billion and not significantly change the number of insured. That's the Alexander Murray Health Care Bill, and the latest from the CBO on that. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. Meanwhile, Fox News Alert, another Republican senator and longtime critic of President Trump, is calling it quits. Arizona Republican Jeff Flake announcing on the Senate floor he will not seek re-election, and he'll retire when his term is up. This is Outnumbered. I'm Sandra Smith, and here today, Harris Faulkner, Republican strategist and Fox News contributor Lisa Booth, former national security staffer under Presidents Bush and Obama, Billion Turner, and today's #OneLuckyGuy. There he is, Brian Kilmeade, co-host of Fox and Friends and the host of the nationally syndicated Brian
show on Fox News Radio. He's also the author of a new book. Have you heard about it yet? Andrew Jackson and the Miracle of New Orleans, the battle that shaped America's destiny. He is outnumbered and not busy enough.
Not yet. I've seen this side of the couch. That's why I changed the name, because
I
it
come
sounds like I
in,
was
there's so
ragging.
much artwork. You kind of blend all in from all the gifts your friends have left you.
And you put the pictures up. You put the up on social media. And I was with your friend, Bill Hemmer. I left him in studio from 9/11.
So welcome.
I'm privileged to be here. It's great to be back on the couch. It's only my second time doing Outnumbered from this studio, so it's certainly going to be a new experience.
Well, there's a lot going on, so let's get started. Another big GOP critic of President Trump announcing he will not be seeking re-election. Arizona Senator Jeff Flake telling colleagues on the Senate floor he will retire when his current term ends next year. He used his remarks to rip into the president.
Reckless, outrageous, and undignified behavior has become excused and countenanced as telling it like it is, when it is actually just reckless, outrageous, and undignified. Because politics can make us silent when we should speak, and silence can equal complicity. I have children and grandchildren to answer to, and so, Mr. President, I will not be complicit or silent.
Blake's comments echo words by Tennessee Republican Senator Bob Corker, who is also retiring. Trump tweeting this morning, the reason Flake and Corker dropped out of the Senate race is very simple. They had zero chance being elected. Now, so hurt and wounded. And the meeting with Republican senators yesterday outside of Flake and Corker was a love fest with standing ovations and great ideas for USA. Former Arizona State Senator Kelly Ward wants to win Flake's now open seat. She's welcoming his retirement.
We do need a positive way forward. We need new leadership, new GOP leadership in Washington, D.C., and I look forward to being a part of that class of 2019 who is putting the America First agenda out in the forefront.
Democrats say Americans should pay attention to the Republicans who are speaking out against Trump. Here's Congressman Elijah Cummings.
I warn the American people, and I'm saying it very clearly, listen to Corker. They need to listen to Flake and need to listen very carefully, because they are basically telling what they see and what they believe.
What message did this send you, Brian Kilmeade?
Unbelievable day yesterday, and it's still resonating today. Bob Corker kind of baited the president into attack. I knew that was going to happen. Then for Senator Flake to surprise everyone and get to the Senate floor, say and emotionally, I'm out of here. I think the one thing that we keep forgetting about is as much as I like Jeff Flake, and I read his book, he was just in studio doing the tour here, is that he was doing terribly, and he could have had the embarrassment of losing a primary. But I also thought it was also telling us something must have happened, because Condoleezza Rice was lined up to do a fundraiser on Thursday. He had also the former President Bush was going to help him out too, raising money. He says he's been working the campaign and doing fundraisers. 2 weeks ago, he was doing a fundraiser in Arizona and ran over to the.
What do you think? Because he also voted with Trump 92% of the time. In fact, when you look at a guy like Luther Strange, who we know the president backed, that was more than his 90%. So what happened?
But it's not like he was all along very critical of the president.
He has, yeah, and he didn't vote for him, but he voted along the line with the president's agenda. So what happened for Jeff Flake suddenly, I should say?
The only thing I can conclude is he talks to the money people and they don't want to write the checks. I heard the Senate money was drying up because of repeal and replace failure, and he's trailing badly. The internals must have been strong, and he thought this might be a good opportunity.
Well, when you take a look at the mainstream media, you're not hearing that. You're not even really hearing a mention of his election chances not being so good. You're hearing a lot of other things.
And the mainstream media loves to exploit rifts in the Republican Party. There are rifts in the Democratic Party, but it just never gets talked about. I mean, you saw that over issues like abortion, when Tom Perez wanted to basically do a litmus test on the issue. A huge rift there. Nobody talks about it. Jeff Flake didn't just have a problem in the Republican primary. He also had a problem in the general election. You go back to 2012 when he won Arizona by 9 points. He only won by 3%. So he's also facing an uphill battle in that aspect as well. But if I'm President Trump, I wouldn't put all my hopes on Kelly Ward. She got trounced by John McCain, which is probably the most vulnerable in a Republican primary, but yet could not defeat him. someone like Marsha Blackburn in Tennessee, she's much more poised to win the Republican primary and then also go on to win the state as well. So I don't know. So I wouldn't put all my eggs in that basket.
I would say this about Kelly Ward. I'll be talking with her next hour. She did come within 11 points of John McCain, which is closer than anybody in 30 years. So yes, it was a digit loss for her, but it was a tighter loss than we had seen with other people.
Jillian, the question at the White House yesterday, is President Trump remaking the Republican Party? Here's how Sarah Sanders responded.
I wouldn't say necessarily he's remaking it because you have a couple of individuals that are no longer running for office. He's got a great relationship with a number of Republican senators. He's going to continue with them and make sure that we get things done for the American people. He wants people to be in the Senate that are committed to actually moving the ball down the field, and I don't think these two individuals necessarily have been as focused on that.
A reference Brian Kilmeade can, of course, appreciate, but Jillian?
I think, yes, the president is cut from different cloth, previous presidents. He's an outside-the-box president, and so now as a result, I think some senators, the president has defined himself, and now some senators are defining themselves in opposition to him. That's just a game of politics. Senator Flake's case is interesting to me a bit more than the others because so if we accept the logic here that he dropped out because he was not going to cut it, to me there's a problem with his messaging yesterday. Part of what he said I appreciated. Part of it I resented because he set up this false dichotomy where he said, rather than stay silent and be complicit, I'm going to of the race.
He hasn't been silent.
Those aren't your two choices anyway. You could you could run your campaign and have a bigger platform to voice yourself. If you don't agree with people who are in power, your voice and perspective is more important than ever before. That is not the moment to drop out.
I think
so I don't like
that
part of it.
when they heard that.
Absolutely. And basically this. Paul Ryan sparred with the president. Mitch McConnell sparred with the president. Lindsey Graham sparred with the president. Don't take it personal. Get over it. He doesn't take it personal. As we talked about on the radio, Harris, who did he golf with? Rand Paul, get off the stage, you don't belong here. And Lindsey Graham, he says you're a disgrace. He got over it because it's not personal.
These are men, the gentleman that you just mentioned, Lindsey Graham and others, these are men who have the ability to get on the road. And who else is on there? The American people. They're looking at the bigger view. And they're able to do that. Not everybody can do that. And the money portion I had not thought about until I cut it up. If you're having a hard time raising some cash, and see the Democrats are going to start to learn this lesson too, it becomes difficult to walk out what you talk about.
Well, also the group of senators establishing themselves in opposition to President Trump, McCain, Flick, Corker, maybe now they don't constitute a direct threat to him politically, but when they start reaching 5 and maybe more, then that's a real problem for them.
But they have the same objective, don't they, Sandra?
Do you think it's fire? Is that what
objective.
you're saying?
Tax reform, infrastructure, repeal and replace, defense. They have the same objective. When we go into a locker room, you don't have to like there, but is your goal winning? If your goal is win, that's all you need to do.
Or a cafe, if we don't want to be in the locker room. Like, if we just want to be in
a cafe, I'll go to pay the check. I'm not really sure I can do that.
Let's hope they have the same objective here, because, the reality now you've got Senator Corker with this rift in the Republican Party. Let's say both of them decide to not vote for tax reform. That gets you at 50, right? That's where you have to be with Vice President Pence being the tiebreaker. So, these are important. I think the American people, they're like, I don't even care about all this. I just want something to get done.
Right.
Exactly.
I need relief. I want to make more money. I want to be able to pay the bills. These are the issues they care about. And so
how are they going to vote in the next 15 months?
I don't know. And I really think that's the question. Do they help President Trump with the objective, the things that they've even stated that they care about? But real quick, back to Arizona, I guarantee that Republican primary field gets pretty darn crowded now that Jeff Flake's getting. Oh yeah, I mean you're going to have likely other Republican members of Congress decide to throw their hat in the ring.
Democrats
because they're looking at those Kelly Ward numbers against John McCain. That was a great point that you made in the sense that she did better than previous people did, but they're still to the point.
But the
landscape
is different now. She'll have to do she'll have to do a different kind.
We're going to leave it there. Democrats are blasting the Republicans' renewed efforts to investigate the Justice Department's decision not to prosecute Hillary Clinton over her emails. They say it's just distraction from a lack of oversight of President Trump. Is it? Or do we need answers? And Fox News confirming Hillary Clinton's campaign and DNC helped fund research that led to the controversial Trump-Russia dossier. Whether this was typical opposition research or a concerted effort to smear the president.
Brought to you by Famous Idaho Potatoes.
Hello, I'm an Idaho potato farmer. You've probably seen me running all over the country in search of our big Idaho potato truck. Not anymore. I'm done with that. Hot. Just going to stay home on the farm, eat a beautiful Idaho potato, and watch TV with my dog.
The big Idaho potato truck pulled in town today, and it's really a sight to see.
Oh, man. Let's go. You coming, boy?
On April 4th, the world's largest investment bank purchased $300 million of gold for their own account. What do they know that you don't? Investors are snapping up gold. This commodity is on the verge of an epic comeback. Gold and silver, opportunity of a lifetime.
You're seeing a lot of very big, very smart money move into precious metals. They get it. They know what's coming.
Call now and get this exclusive video. See why banks, billionaires, and financial experts are buying gold.
The richest guys who know what they're talking about, like Dalio and those guys, they're shifting into gold now.
Call Lear Capital at 1-800-452-5050 for your free video and special report. Banks, billionaires, and Plan B. First-time callers receive this revolutionary gold note. It's a 1/20th gram of pure gold pressed into a paper-thin dollar-sized bill.
Everybody should have gold in their portfolio.
Get your free information and ask how you can receive up to $600 in free gold. Call 1-800-452-5050.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Do you hate your full face mask? Tired of the severe pain and discomfort? Now you can eliminate the pain and torture of your CPAP mask and sleep in total comfort. Invented by an actual sleep apnea patient, this incredible product ends the need to use awful full face masks. And because it has no straps and no headgear, you'll be comfortable and get your best CPAP sleep ever. Go to nomask.com, NOMASK.com to end your nightly torture. That's nomask.com.
For over 200 years, the stock market is going up and down like a roller coaster. And it seems like everybody is giving you advice on what you should do with your retirement money. But most people just want to earn a reasonable rate of return and keep it simple. Is that what you want? Get Your Investors can learn how to never lose money when the market goes down and earn a reasonable rate of return. And on the DVD, I'll personally explain how it works. You decide if it's right for you.
Call 800-557-7379 or typeJyoung.net.
Watch Fox News Channel anytime, anywhere. Fox News Go.
Ready, Dad?
Thank you, VSP.
Lost vision coverage? Enroll today in an affordable individual vision plan direct from VSP.
Look, Grandpa.
Wow, what a monster.
No, it's you.
Thank you, VSP.
Lost your vision coverage? Enroll today in an affordable individual vision plan direct from VSP.
This is all of us.
Not again. I'm always in the bunker. Oh, thank you, VSP.
Lost your vision coverage? Enroll today in an affordable individual vision plan direct from VSP.
Wow, thank you, VSP.
Lost vision coverage? Enroll today in an affordable individual vision plan direct from VSP.
Fox News has confirmed Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign and the DNC helped fund political research into President Trump, then candidate, that ultimately produced a controversial dossier of allegations about his ties to Russia. An attorney representing the Clinton campaign and the DNC retained Fusion GPS, a Washington firm, to do that research. The firm hired dossier author Christopher Steele, a former British spy. Meanwhile, just days ago, multiple leaders from Fusion GPS pleaded the fifth before House lawmakers when asked who financed that work. House Oversight Committee Chairman Trey Gowdy says he has more questions.
It is relevant who paid for the dossier. It's much more relevant who relied upon it. So my focus has always been whether or not the Department of Justice and the FBI relied upon an unsourced
CIA document to launch a counterintelligence investigation. So I want to know whether the nation's premier law enforcement agency relied on a document that looks like the National Enquirer prepared it.
Money, money, money. Before Clinton and the DNC kicked in that cash, the dossier was initially financed during the primaries by an unnamed GOP operative. President Trump has denied everything that is in that dossier. Meanwhile, former Clinton campaign spokesperson Brian Fallon tweeted this: "I regret I didn't know about Christopher Steele's hiring for the election. If I had, I would have volunteered to go to Europe and try to help him." End quote. Playing the part of the British spy is Brian Kilmeade.
Yeah.
This story has a British spy in it.
Christopher Steele. And bottom line is, when he lost his original benefactor, the RNC, I want to find out who that candidate is. That was the Republican candidate that started the investigation. Very curious to see who that is. Hopefully that'll emerge soon when these documents get exposed. And I just think it's a substantial amount of money. This guy ate out a lot, because he demanded $5.6 million in legal fees for the Clinton campaign, and the DNC wrote him a $3.6 million check.
Wow.
That's a lot of spying. You
Brian,
better come
you're
up with something.
jealous because you realize you went into the wrong business.
Absolutely. I know I'm in the wrong business. Absolutely. Soon Christopher Steele is going to emerge, and this Fusion GPS is the one saying, "I am taking the fifth."
So I just need somebody to tell me who's worked on a campaign. Lisa Booth, what exactly is opposition research? And I mean, I know what it is, but was it in this context?
And is this normal?
Well, you dig up dirt on your opponent. I don't think this is normal in terms of, okay, so here's what I think's the big deal about this. So we're all concerned, or at least that's been the narrative of concern, of Russian disinformation in the United States. Here's your disinformation campaign, and it was bought and paid for by Hillary Clinton's campaign and the DNC. In the book Shattered, it talks about Clinton's sources basically saying that within 24 hours of her concession speech, they came together and came up with the narrative of why she lost. And Russia influence was part of that. And this document had led to a lot of the allegations against President Trump and Russia collusion, which was bought and paid for the Clinton campaign. Then you also look at the GPS, or Fusion GPS, which many are saying is an unregistered agent of Russia who employed Christopher Steele, who got his information from Russian intelligence sources. So this is highly concerning, and you add in the extra element, which is probably the most concerning of all, the fact of how did this influence a federal investigation and the FBI seeking a FISA warrant. So there's a lot of elements of here that are very concerning, and we should absolutely get to the bottom of it.
So then, you know, the next steps are, do you get a special prosecutor, special counsel on this? What do you do?
I think that would probably be ideal, but we're going to definitely have committees on the Hill of
Brian, you're thinking, well, it can't be Mueller.
But this is sketch city, right? Nothing.
Are you saying details are sketchy?
I'm saying that this whole thing, the whole story surrounding this dossier is
shady and reprehensible, and nothing highlights just how dirty American presidential politics has become. But maybe unlike Lisa, I'm not sure, I think the blame lies with the Republicans here too. They commissioned this dossier, and we don't know who it is. We don't know where their research ends and Hillary Clinton's research where their ends and hers begins. And so I just think everybody is tarnished. This is just terrible for everybody.
Well, they had a year. Hillary Clinton had a year by herself to write a significant amount of money. So I think the RNC starts. Whoever this Republican candidate is knocked out. I mean, I'm not going to say it, but there's one name that keeps coming up over and over again.
What's it rhyme with?
I cannot. I'm not a good rhymer. I'm not a good poet. Sandra's from that. But all I could say is, you know what the good part about this is, Sandra? Because you're very upset. Obviously,
I'm upset that we have to say dossier every 5 seconds.
Right.
Remember how when this story originally broke, we were all like, oh, so by using that word, we are somehow confirming the validity of it.
Can I give you the good news?
What is
we're going to be so vigilant about foreign investment in our elections from here on in. This is the smallest.
But what about accountability? The DNC is not even owning this, right? They're saying, oh, that wasn't us. There was the other DNC.
They had names on
Brazil and
to be fair, it is possible, right?
You can't do that.
Well, Christopher Steele also went in hiding for
the organization is responsible, but the leadership has completely been transformed since the election. So there is a little bit of
come on.
Well, Sandra, it's like saying Outnumbered, had a terrible show one day before you were one of the co-hosts. And you're like, well, that's not my fault. Do you know what I'm saying? Outnumbered was never terrible. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
You know my
The
point.
producers are screaming in my ear, that would never happen, Ms.
Absolutely.
That was the last time.
That is fake news.
That was the last time Billion was ever invited back.
I just hallucinated that we were already in the commercial. Shall we go?
Just put the camera
It's
back
all
on
because
me.
you were staring me down, Dandra.
I know.
And I pointed
What is
out,
that?
I pointed out my cutaway.
BKGN, Brian can read good news.
I was trying to look at the good news, right?
Yeah, is that forever now we are going to be looking much closer,
hypervigilant.
we hope, at how foreign money gets into elections. We hope, right?
Right. I'm looking at the positive.
That would be something great to come out of something horrible.
Trying to diffuse a little tension on the set. Maybe it's not going to work.
Republicans are set to take a big step in their quest to fast-track tax reform and put a bill on the president's desk before the end of the year. The major steps lawmakers are taking to make sure the tax effort goes far better than their attempts to repeal Obamacare. We'll talk about that. And the GOP taking aim at Hillary Clinton over a controversial uranium deal. Remember, the president called this the story of the decade. It was a uranium deal with Russians, and whether donations to the Clinton Foundation played any role in that. The answers lawmakers are seeking, and even calling for a special counsel in that. Stay close.
Prudential asked these couples, how much money do you think you'll need in retirement? Then we found out how many years that money would last them.
How do you think we'll keep?
You're leaving me back here at year 9? How did this happen?
It turned out a lot of people fell short of even the average length of retirement.
We have to think about not when we expect to live to, but when we could live to.
Let's plan for income lasts all our years of retirement.
Prudential, bring your challenges.
I'm Chris, and I lost 120 pounds on Nutrisystem.
Listen up, guys. Want to shed a few pounds? Got a beer belly going on? Can't fit into your pants? Then you need Nutrisystem for men.
I'm Essex, and I lost 43 pounds on Nutrisystem.
I'm Trevor, and I lost 60 pounds on Nutrisystem.
Lose 15 pounds and 7 inches in your first month. Lose weight fast. Money back guarantee. Real guys, real results.
I'm Michael, and I lost 50 pounds on Nutrisystem.
Put down the pot, pick up the phone, and get with the program today. Get 1 week of all new Nutri-Crush bars free and 1 week of Turbo Shakes free.
The food was delicious.
If you're like me and you like to eat, this is what you get to do.
This is perfect for men, especially guys who don't want to cook.
So get off the couch, call or go online in the next 2 minutes, and we'll even throw in FedEx shipping free. Lose 15 pounds and 7 inches in your first month.
It's not that hard. You eat the food, you lose the weight.
Go online or call 888-605-SIZE to get Nutrisystem for Men with bars and shakes free.
Today, big thinking in the Finger Lakes is pushing the new New York forward. We're the #1 dairy and apple producers in the eastern United States. Supported by innovative packaging that extends the shelf life of foods and infrastructure upgrades that help us share our produce with the world. All across New York State, we're building the new New York. To grow your business with us in New York State, visit esd.ny.gov. Having chronic back pain affects everything. Your family, your job. It's time to take your life back. Call Laser Spine Institute if you've been diagnosed with spinal stenosis, bulging herniated discs, sciatica, or other chronic spine conditions, and get your no-cost MRI review.
Call 1-800-885-BACK today.
Our experienced board-certified surgeons use a less than 1-inch incision to have you up and walking within hours of minimal invasive surgery, free from chronic back pain.
There were times my boss would send me home because I was in excruciating pain. Going to Laser Spine Institute, I go in, I have the procedure, and walk out, changed person, good, go back to work. It's changed my life completely.
If you've been told you might need neck or back surgery, call 1-800-885-BACK for your no-cost MRI review.
Laser Spine Institute, a less than 1-inch incision, a lifetime of standing tall.
There's an old saying in the Navy that the toughest job in the Navy is the Navy wife. And if you made the deployment and you've been the wife at home or you've been the spouse at home, you understand what I'm talking about. Your spouse has earned the right to apply for a VA home loan. The New Day 100 loan allows you to borrow up to 100% of your home's value. If you're in a situation where you need some help financially, give us a call.
Call 1-844-553-1252.
It's a new day for veterans who need money for the family. Home values are going up and home equity lending back. That's me. New Day USA has helped thousands of veterans close in as little as 30 days through their valuable VA home loan. That's me. Cash to pay credit cards, cash for retirement, or cash just put in the bank. It's a new day lending, and for veterans who need money, it can mean a lot. That's me. Call New Day USA at 1-844-553-1252.
The push for tax reform is in high gear as the House expected to vote tomorrow on the Senate's budget passage would allow the GOP to fast-track their tax plan. This, as Politico reporting, Republicans are taking steps to avoid the mistakes that hurt the Obamacare repeal effort out of the gate. The publication saying party leaders have prepared rollout plans that include a taxing campaign, multi-state tax tour, and deep policy dives with caucus members. They're also reportedly bringing on board a veteran GOP strategist to help lawmakers sharpen their talking points. Earlier on America's Newsroom, the number 2 House Republican, Congressman Kevin McCarthy, told me why passing the Senate budget is so important.
Yes, it will pass, and a vote for the budget is a vote to move tax reform forward. What's so important here to realize that the House is taking the Senate budget, and the Senate made some changes in there for the House. That speeds up tax reform by more than 2 weeks. So it starts the process faster so we can get this done this year to really help the hardworking taxpayers of America be able to keep more of their own money.
So does this get done?
Yes.
Talking tax reform killed me.
No, it's done.
Blanket.
There's no way it's not getting done. And I already think they're already showing flexibility. I think the question would be, are you going to be able to get Democrats on board? Because Republicans aren't going to fight on corporate tax. It would be good. It would be good that every 4 years we wouldn't turn over entire political system.
That's a different question.
No, I mean, they get simple majority.
What I remember the day that, Senator Rand Paul voted against the budget, right? And then everybody's like, well, where does he stand on all this stuff? The president said, that's fine, but he's on board for tax reform.
They golfed.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't play golf.
No, they did golf.
Sandra's an excellent golfer, by the way.
Your game. Pick it on me today. Okay, so Rand Paul was one of those who spoke up. Thank you, Harris. One of those that spoke up and said this does not bring tax cuts to the entire middle class. That's still a concern. And speaking of talking points, one coming from Democrats.
Well, can I talk about what I know, which is political communication? And so I really think it's important that the Trump administration has sort of learned from mistakes in the past, whether it was the first rollout of the travel pause, Obamacare, just the Republican Party as a whole not getting in front of it, allowing basically a vacuum for disinformation from the Democratic Party about Obamacare to be able to get into the atmosphere and sort of taint the process. So I think it's really important that they're getting in front of this. And right now, we don't have the details of the exact legislation on tax reform. So right now, we're dealing with broad strokes. We're dealing with messaging, and we're dealing with the shaping of the process.
By the way, why is that? Why hasn't the president shown us what he wants in terms of that proposal exactly? We still don't have the income brackets. We don't know what the middle class is.
But there was the 70-point plan.
Well, I suspect because a lot of this stuff is being worked out behind closed doors among Republicans.
And that's great news. Let's hope it's that.
And that's what I hope. But for the important right now, so basically right now, everyone's trying to shape the process, which is why you have Democrats coming forward and saying this is for the rich. You have Republicans coming out and saying this is for the middle class. That's what's happening right now, is the shaping of the overall process. So it's really important for Republicans to get out in front of this and to be very well thought out in their messaging of this.
Passage of the budget in the House tomorrow would be key, though, as you heard McCarthy say. That speeds things up. Momentum would be huge if they could gather some.
Yeah, and so Lisa just pointed out something I want to piggyback off of, which is that the White House is really working to shape this. I think there's a lot of press about how Capitol Hill learned, the Republicans on Capitol Hill learned the lessons from the failure to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act. But the White House learned lessons too, because one of the big criticisms, at least issued from the president's own party, was that he kind of outsourced the details to the Hill. He was hands off. He was not 100% as invested as they would have liked him to be in fleshing everything out. So this time, I think, though we still are left with broad strokes right now, we have a lot more to work. You know, the White House crafted that 70-point plan that they circulated to the Hill a couple of weeks ago. That's a tremendous
first big haul effort by the administration. It shows that President Trump really has skin in the game.
He does. We just need the exact figures. And you've heard guys like Jim Jordan, who's, the originator of the Freedom Caucus in the House, saying, look, we can get on board with a lot. We like a lot about what we're hearing, but we just need the specifics so you can sell it back home. Who is the middle class?
Harris gets last word.
Really?
Yes.
How did that never happen?
Democrats now firing back as House lawmakers launch an investigation into the Justice Department's handling of the Hillary Clinton email probe. So is it time we get some answers from folks like former FBI Director James Comey? Or is this a smokescreen, as Democrats claim? Plus, a top lawmaker calling for a special counsel to look at that Obama-era uranium sale to Russia. And the mainstream media virtually silent on this story, despite the way the facts seem to be adding up.
Americans disagree on just about everything. Politics, religion, where to eat dinner. But we can agree on one thing. An IRA backed by gold feels more secure than an IRA backed by paper. You really want to build your retirement on paper? Hi, I'm William Devane, and IRAs are a great way to shelter your money. And an IRA backed by gold and silver from Roslyn Capital can give you that extra layer of protection, so your retirement can withstand the troubles of tomorrow. If you already have an IRA, it's surprisingly easy to roll it over to an IRA backed by gold from Roslyn. You'll see how owning a gold IRA will give you that same sense of security as one of these babies. So ask yourself, are you safe?
Call now to get your free gold, silver, and IRA kits. Call 800-630-8900. 800-630-8900. 800-630-8900.
This is where life expresses itself as an endless flow of energy. Are you ready? Atlantis. Bahamas at heart.
Book by October 31st for the best fall rates at 1-800-ATLANTIS or AtlantisBahamas.com.
Come on, Dad. Higher. Higher. Parents aren't perfect, but then they make us Kraft mac and cheese, and everything's good again. More.
Looks like you're not sleeping well.
Yeah. How did you know?
Megan! What? Hey! You're that guy!
The My Pillow guy. That's right, and I'm here to help you get the best sleep of your lives. Oh, you have a down pillow. Here's the problem with down pillows. You lay there, you feel comfortable, and guess what? It goes down, and you got one bent neck. So this pillow's no good, and I see you sleeping on memory foam.
Right.
Well, I'll show you what's wrong with that idea.
Okay.
Sleep's all about too high or too low, and I'm going to show you where your comfort level will be.
So, that feels better.
Right, that's better, but I'm not going to sit and hold this all day. So every morning you're getting up like, it's not good. Just like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. I had tried every pillow out there and none of them worked. That's why I invented My Pillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck aligned. My Pillow will hold its shape all night long, regardless of your sleep position, for the best sleep of your life.
It feels great to wake up in the morning and feel well rested. It's shocking to me that a pillow could make this big of a difference in my life.
I make all my pillows in my home state of Minnesota, and I back them with my 60-day money-back guarantee. My Pillow has a 10-year warranty, and it's machine washable and dryable. Sleep is one of the most important things to your health, and My Pillow is one of the most important things to your sleep.
Call or go online to order My Pillow Premium, and Mike will give you a second pillow absolutely free. Use the promo code on screen to get 2 My Pillows for the price of 1. Don't delay. Order now.
You're sleeping better.
Much better.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Remember that accident I got in with the hole and I had to make a claim and all that?
Is that whole thing still dragging on?
No, I took some pics with the app and filed a claim. But you know how they send you money to cover repairs and...
It took forever to pay you, right?
No, I got paid right away. But at the very end of it all, my agent wouldn't even call you back, right? No, she could see if I was happy. But if I wasn't happy with my claim experience, for any reason, they'd give me my money back. No questions asked. Can you believe that? Oh.
The Claim Satisfaction Guarantee, only from Allstate. Switching to Allstate is worth it.
The House Intelligence and Oversight Committees are announcing a formal investigation now into the Russia Uranium One deal that was approved during the Obama administration, including allegations of kickbacks from Russian nuclear officials to the Clinton Foundation. Here's House Intel Committee Chairman Devin Nunes.
You're talking about major decisions that were made at a time when we were resetting relations with Russia that actually happened to benefit the Clinton Foundation, perhaps other avenues. We don't know yet. But look, I believe that this informant is lying. I think he was working for the FBI. But that's part of what the initial probe is going to get to the bottom of.
Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley also is calling for the appointment of a special counsel to investigate the deal. Meanwhile, the mainstream media, some of them, virtually silent after last week's initial report from the Hill that the FBI had uncovered a Russian bribery plot before the Obama administration approved deal. A Media Research Center study found CNN gave the story less than 4 minutes of airtime during the first week of that report, and CBS gave the story just more than a minute of coverage. ABC and NBC did not cover it at all, at least through the start of this week. Jillian?
So, well, there's not a lot of good things to say about this story. One of the things I was thinking about when it first broke is that it has some pretty serious national security implications because energy sources and supplies is how Russia, since the dawn of time, has controlled large parts of Eastern Europe. And Putin, to this day, continues to cut off strategic.
We saw him Radio Shack. We don't need that anymore.
Sorry.
But the main question here is, regardless of the percentage, why was this deal done in the first place, particularly at a time when we know that the FBI was an investigation, basically this criminal spying scheme by the Russian government trying to enter into this marketplace in the first point. So I think that's the main question. Then also, why was Capitol Hill left in the dark on this very issue? And then you look at the other component of this, which was actually a concern of the Obama administration with Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation, was her influence purchased. What was her influence purchase when you look at the $145 million payment to the Clinton Foundation, $500,000 speaking engagement by Bill Clinton?
I mean, that's when perception really bites you. Because even if it were not, is enough that the pay for play is what she now is pushing back on in media.
Optics king.
So Chuck Grassley is obviously asking for things here, like lifting the
I'm so confused. Devin Nunes wants investigation. Grassley wants investigation. We don't know about Mueller's investigation. Both House and Senate have investigations on Russian collusion. Both have concluded nothing we found out over the last 2 weeks. They're frustrated because they can't find anything. They're frustrated because they're not doing anything.
Well, they could investigate this.
One of the pushbacks.
The president's calling it the story of the decade, and I'm quoting him on this because he was live when.
I believe the winning the World Series last year was the story of the decade. We need an investigation on that. How did they do that?
Just to be fair and balanced for a second, what we're hearing from Clinton folks, from the Obama administration, is that the reason and no one on this couch is going to like this, but I'm just telling you so viewers can hear this.
the reason that they struck this deal at this time was because they were trying to curry favor with Russia to get them to be party to the Iran nuclear deal. I'm just telling you, I'm not saying.
No, but they sacrificed their entire foreign policy for that thing. They let Syria run rampant. They let Iraq go crazy.
And so this
they
was
let
part
ISIS
of that.
emerge. And let's add that to the fray.
We got to end. We got to end on there, but we'll continue the conversation more across the day and outnumbered over time. Democrats are slamming a Republican effort to reinvestigate Hillary Clinton's emails. The House Judiciary and Oversight Committee are launching a joint probe into the DOJ's handling of the investigation. Democratic leaders are calling it a smokescreen to divert attention away from the White House. But they're also taking aim at former Oversight Chairman Jason Chaffetz, saying he did everything in his power to make public the details of James Comey's investigation while essentially ignoring the Trump campaign's connections to Russia. I want to do you first, Brian. Do you buy that? That line of reasoning?
I do. I think that their whole theory is the theory of foreign policy that President Trump had brought up earlier. That it's a failed foreign policy under the chairman of the Foreign Relations, Corker, that left him with this mess, especially in the Middle East. And as it turns out with James Comey, this is all intertwined. My objective is to get this deal with Iran. We signed up a terrible deal with Iran, and we have a mess of a foreign policy, and we have a current president who's trying to fix everything at one time.
Sandra? So there.
I mean, so Lisa, I'll get to you next. I said we weren't going to talk about this anymore, but you're right. These things are all intertwined. The subject of the Iran deal. If that was something you believed was the golden albatross, as someone in the Obama administration who helped this together, then it would be worth making some sacrifices. Maybe a bit of your, access and control over uranium supplies here in the United States. Maybe some other. Working with some other unsavory regimes?
Well, I think you're basically just completely underscoring President Trump's point that the Iran deal was incredibly weak for the United States, and you basically just made the case for him to that point. And I think anyone alleging that somehow connections with President Trump and Russia hasn't been litigated enough is insane and hasn't been paying attention to the ridiculous claims that the media has been making over the course of the past few months. And my question about Hillary Clinton this entire time is if we're going to believe that somehow, Russia has got the scoop on President Trump and's got the goods on him, how in the world are we not going to believe that Hillary Clinton put her national security at risk by having an email server as secure as Gmail or less and traveling on international soil? So how do we not believe that Russia has the goods on the United States and or Hillary Clinton and what was on her email server and her emails to begin with? So I would like Congress to get to the bottom of that and what potentially she put at risk in terms of national security.
What do you say, Brian, to Democrats who say, leave it alone? She's not president. She didn't win the election. So why are we spending all this time, money, and resources on these investigations?
So glad you asked me that. Because the ongoing investigation is taking place. And as you look Trump candidate, you have to look at Hillary Clinton candidate. And the book tour that never ends puts her in the forefront as she continues to call out the validity.
You're right about that. Because she's keeping herself relevant to this investigation by keeping herself out there because she's got books to sell. So then how do you corner yourself off and say, well, I'm only going to answer these questions. You're a former presidential candidate. It's not some schlumpy. You were part of some of these things. So by keeping yourself, by trying to make yourself relevant, you make yourself accessible.
Well, but also the president is tweeting about her on a near daily basis.
Well, now she's really relevant.
He's keeping her in the forefront of national attention.
I give so much credit to Al Gore and Mitt Romney. As much as they wanted to win and John McCain, they went away. They went away.
They
wanted. And
well, Mitt Romney came back for a minute with that speech that was anti-Trump.
To call out a Republican.
Right. He did come back for a minute.
Right, to call out a Republican.
And we've discussed before, a better use of her time might be helping to cultivate the next generation of Democratic leaders, because there's no one lined up in the guest.
I don't think that would be helpful to them. But it's ironic, too, real quickly. I use the word irony, which is completely reused, but I think it fits this scenario with Mitt Romney. Remember, he was one who was trying to get everybody to focus on Russia back in the day, in the days of Obama.
He's our #1 geopolitical foe.
There you go. Yep. He said it a few years ago.
Right.
As tough as new refugee regulations are about to take effect, there's word that illegal border crossings are set to hit record lows by the end of this year. Officials say the credit all goes to President Trump. Does he get all the credit? That's coming up next. Stick with us.
Liberty Mutual stood with me when I was too busy with the kids to get a repair estimate. I just snapped a photo and got an estimate in 24 hours.
My insurance company definitely doesn't have that.
You can leave worry behind when Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
It's Golden Corral's all-new smokehouse. Choose from hickory smoked beef, brisket, tender baby back ribs, smoked chicken and turkey, all cooked low and slow on site. Smoke it, baby. Golden Corral, your choice rules.
So you think this chip is nothing to worry about? At Safelite, we know sooner or later, every chip will crack. These friends were on a trip when their windshield got chipped. So they scheduled at Safelite.com. They didn't have to change their plans or worry about a thing. I'll see you in a little bit. And I fixed it right away with a strong repair they trust. Plus, with most insurance, a Safelite repair is no cost to you. Being there whenever you need us, that's another Safelite advantage.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
So I was mom and dad's and found this. CDs, baseball cards, your old magic set, and this wrestling ticket, which you still owe me for. Seriously? $25. I didn't even want to go. Your diary. Mom said it is totally natural. $25 is nothing. Abracadabra, bro.
The Bank of America mobile banking app. The fast, secure, and simple way to send money.
The Bush Sisters on the Daily Briefing. Growing up in the public eye, standing up to criticism, and what being the first family is really like. Don't miss this special interview today.
Not gonna happen.
That's it. I'm calling Kohler about the walk-in bath.
My name is Ken. How may I help you?
Hi, I'm calling about Kohler's walk-in bath.
Excellent. Happy to help. Huh? Hold one moment, please. Kohler walk-in bath features extra wide opening and a low definite 3 inches, which is 25 to 60% lower than some leading competitors. The bath fills and drains quickly, while heated seat soothes your back, neck, and shoulders. Kohler is an expert at bathing, so you can count on a deep soaking experience.
Are you seeing this?
The Kohler walk-in bath comes with fully adjustable hydrotherapy jets and our exclusive bubble massage. Everything is installed in as little as a day by a Kohler certified installer. And it's made by Kohler, America's leading plumbing brand.
We need this bath.
Yes. Yes, you do. A Kohler walk-in bath provides independence with peace of mind. Call 1-800-753-4291 for a free Kohler Nightlight toilets with consultation, or visit KohlerWalkinBath.com for more info.
So I purchased a timeshare back in 1997 because I was looking for something to do with my kids. Over the course of 15 or so years that we used it, we went a lot of really fun places. Irreplaceable memories, no doubt. By 2012, I had a third child who was then 9 years old, but my older two had graduated from high school. Times did change, and we wanted the freedom of being able to enjoy vacations wherever we can go, when we can go. Then I did see some advertising for Timeshare Exit Team. I was absolutely elated because I had had so much regret and remorse over the years for having gotten into the timeshare, and I was extremely impressed with how professional they were and how straight and to the point they were in getting me out of my timeshare.
Time changes everything. If your timeshare no longer fits your life, call the team that can talk to you about options for your timeshare. Call Timeshare Exit Team today or go to timeshareexitteam.com.
More Outnumbered in just a moment, but first we touch base with Harris on what's coming up on Outnumbered Overtime in just a few moments. Harris, what's going on?
OTB, good to see you, Lisa. All right, the day after Senator Jeff Flake's dramatic announcement that he will not run for re-election, Kelly Ward, the conservative Republican running for his seat, will join me. She says Flake's retirement shows the establishment days are over. So is the president draining the swamp? I'm going to talk to her about that. And where does health care stand now that a new Republican plan has put the bipartisan Senate bill in question? I'll ask GOP Senator Mike Rounds. He backs that bipartisan bill, by the way. He'll tell me why. That's at the top of the hour. Now back to you guys. Hi, Lisa.
Thanks, Harris. Hi, a lot to look forward to. The acting chief of the U.S. Customs and Border Protection says that illegal immigration at the southwest border will hit 45-year low when this year's numbers are all tallied. And he credits President Trump's, quote, very clear messaging on immigration for the improvement. Meanwhile, a new White House executive order is bringing the refugee cap down to a record low number and beefing up vetting. Admissions will be considered on a limited case-by-case basis for those from 11 high-risk nations and Palestinians. All refugees will have to submit their previous phone number, email, and addresses going back 10 years, and also provide contact information for their parents, siblings, children, current and ex-spouses, and their parents. The new order will also suspend the program, allowing spouses and children to follow refugees here. So, Brian, first, let's get to the 45-year low. Clearly, the Customs and Border Protection is tributing President Trump's very clear messaging. Question to you, that's a clear win for the Trump administration, but does this get cloudy with the introduction of DACA legislation?
Well, no, I think that's definitely related. And if they're effective at communicating it, it turns out when we saw all those unaccompanied minors come through, it was when the President of the United States, President Obama at the time, said that we are going to be open to making dreamers become citizens, or at least let them not feel deportation. And the message got out inaccurately that now's the time to come. So they streamed across the border, unaccompanied minors. So now we're saying just the opposite. You have our president here, the word is out, tougher on immigration, but building the barrier, we're bolstering it up. The magnet is turned off temporarily, so those on the fence that can't get here, they don't have to be here, say this is not the time to take the risk. Life and limb to go across the border illegally.
Do you think this helps or hurts President Trump in trying to move the border wall forward?
No, I think it helped overall. We've already helped. We've already made some progress. We got to finish the job. I also think that if you just get some numbers at what happened in San Diego, they put up the barrier, a double and triple fence, and it really did a great deal in stopping. It makes it harder. You get the word out about what the wall can do to be effective. You get that number down, you pick out a prototype and start building it. I think it'll start.
And who's going to pay for the wall?
Well,
you are, Jillian.
Not Mexico yet. I would think out of all the budget, what's 1.8 billion about? We just wrote a $36 billion check to rebuild Texas. Where do we get that money from?
Well, and Jillian, onto the refugee aspect of this. So, I mean, honestly, looking at things like submitting previous phone number, email addresses, that doesn't really seem like too broad of a reach. Or, I mean, what's wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I applaud the Trump administration for getting illegal immigration down. I think we can celebrate that. It's understandably a healthy thing for the nation. They lose me on the refugees. Record loads of refugees coming into this country does not help Americans. And we were chatting about this earlier. I was trying to lay out for you the fact that it's important to really distinguish, in my mind, it's important to really distinguish between immigrants who come to this country and refugees who we accept into this country, who are some of the most vulnerable, mistreated people from around the world, who themselves, in many instances, are fleeing terrorism. The idea that we would sacrifice some of our founding principles, which is to accept vulnerable people like that because of the terrorist threat, means that we're changing to accommodate terrorism, and nobody wins.
As far as your question to Brian on the border wall, though, does it feel to you, Lisa, like the president is gaining some momentum on his immigration policy?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I see the the reason I was asking that, because I see the counter argument from Democrats saying, oh, well, if we're at a 45-year low, why do we need the wall? And so that was kind of the premise of that question, which I think the argument is still there of saying, you know, we're doing the right things, let's move forward with it. And this is important. That's kind of where that question was coming from, because couldn't you see, I'd see Senator Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi making that argument.
All right, well, we need to save some time to talk Andrew Jackson. More outnumbered in just a moment.
Here's something big banks don't want you to know about your IRA or 401k. Store your retirement at home. With the Augusta Home Delivery Gold IRA, you can transfer your current IRA or 401k into approved physical gold and silver coins. No management fees, no depository fees, and you have direct physical control over your IRA, because your IRA gold and silver coins will be delivered to your door with free shipping and free insurance. You can store approved coins in your safe home or in a safety deposit box at your local bank. Augusta Precious Metals is the leader in home delivery gold IRAs. With A+ rating from Better Business Bureau, AA from the BCA, gold and silver have been the family business for over 40 years. Call 800-345-4IRA for our free guide to Augusta Home Delivery Gold IRAs and discover how you can get up to $2,000 in silver free. If you can't hold it, do you really own it?
I was a good soldier. I had purpose, and I loved it.
You never told me you were a hero.
You
You are my hammer out there. Don't let these young guys see you fold.
I'm only human. I made mistakes. I'm only human. That's all it takes to put the pain on me.
Thank you for looking after my son.
We're brothers. Look after each other.
Thank you for your service. Rated R. In theaters Friday.
I enjoy the fresher things in life. Fresh towels, fresh soaps, and of course, TripAdvisor's freshest, lowest prices. So, if you're anything like me, you'll want to check TripAdvisor. We now instantly compare prices from over 200 booking sites to find you the lowest price on the hotel you want. Go on, try something fresh. TripAdvisor, the latest reviews, the lowest prices.
The only thing that stands between you and great sleep is a simple box. The revolutionary Casper mattress perfectly balances soft and firm for outrageous comfort. It's the internet favorite mattress. Order online. You can try it for 100 nights in your own home. And if you don't like it, we'll pick it up and refund you everything. Try it today, risk-free, at Casper.com.
What are they doing? They're using automation to cut errors and build apps faster.
But why are they yelling? Yeah, where's all the chaos?
The frustration. The anguish. It's a modern software factory. We really do anguish.
Endless Shrimp is here with incredible flavors like new Nashville hot shrimp. Crispy, spicy, and drizzled with sweet amber honey. Plus, delicious classics you love, like garlic shrimp scampi. Try all the shrimp you want, however you want them. But hurry, and soon.
I'm Master Chief Vince Patton. I am proud of being part of a company that really pays very close attention to taking care of the needs of veterans. Our people at New Day take a tremendous amount of time to get to know the person on the other end of the line. Veterans love to talk about what they've done in the service, and to have someone on the other end of the phone that really truly listens to them, that's one of the best qualities that we have at New Day.
Brian Kilmeade's new book, Andrew Jackson and the Miracle of New Orleans, the battle that shaped America's destiny. If you need some new reading material, this is your book. Why?
I just think that people need a patriotic story to understand how great this country is. You have a guy that fought for the Revolutionary War at 13, lost his entire family by 14, still became a senator, a congressman, a judge, obviously a lawyer, a two-term president, but first and foremost for this book, a major general. He didn't have Washington. He died in 1799, but you needed somebody to step up and save a war that was going terribly, and he stopped the British in under an hour, under 45 minutes, something that Napoleon couldn't do.
What inspired you to write this book?
I just think that I'm looking for stories that aren't plowed ground. I don't think I could do the comprehensive biography on Andrew Jackson. It's been done too many times by people a lot smarter, but if I could bring out a battle, another indication of how America, I believe, was destined for this superpower status, I thought this would be the perfect thing. And to see what happened in that battle and to go on the battlefield and actually see what took place. Teddy Roosevelt made sure no one built on it because he looked up to Andrew Jackson as well.
Andrew Jackson.
So do we get free copies?
Well, discounted.
I don't see any here today.
See, Lisa gave into the book party, so she
I
got
wasn't
for
invited,
free.
though. I invited myself.
Right. How do I stop her
Swear,
when she
I
showed
promise.
up? But we're going to have a whole special on Andrew Jackson and how much he is like President Trump,
That's what I wanted
too.
to ask you about.
Yeah, it's amazing how much he's like the president.
Well, you are one of our original One Lucky guys. It's always good to have you, Brian Kilmeade. Thank you, and Jillian and Lisa.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you back on here at noon Eastern time tomorrow. Harris Faulkner, outnumbered overtime. Take it away.
Another longtime critic of President Trump says he will not seek re-election. Let's go. Outnumbered overtime. I'm Harris Faulkner. Arizona Senator Jeff Flake told his colleagues on the Senate floor he will retire when his term is up next year. Then he went after the president, not by name, but it was clear, saying he will no longer be silent or complicit. A few hours earlier, we saw Senator Bob Corker also taking verbal aim at the president. But President Trump dismissed their attack, reportedly telling his staff that he helped force those men out. Chief Congressional Correspondent Mike Emanuel is live on the Hill for us. Mike?
Well, Harris Senator Jeff Flake says he is not ruling out a run for president in 2020, but says he has no plans as of right now. It is clear he is not willing to fight for what would be a difficult re-election bid to the Senate next year.
We're at a different time now.
and to go and run a campaign as if the president's actions are normal and that they can be countenanced. That's a difficult position to take in a Republican primary, the position that I've taken. We ought to stand up.
Flake's announcement came after Foreign Relations Chairman Bob Corker of Tennessee announced he will retire at the end of next year. Now that he's not running for re-election, Corker has sounded liberated to speak his mind. Corker reignited his feud with President Trump yesterday by suggesting the White House should stay out of tax reform negotiations and leave it to lawmakers to work it out. This morning, the president blasted both senators on Twitter, writing, "The reason Flake and Corker dropped out of the Senate race is very simple. They had zero chance of being elected, now act so hurt and wounded." The Republican senators were also ripped by the White House press secretary.
I think the voters of these individual senator states are speaking in pretty loud volumes. I think that they were not likely to be reelected, and I think that shows that the support is more behind this president than it is those two individuals.
Earlier today, the Senate Democratic leader offered this tribute.
It should comfort him, however, that history will judge Senator Flake and Senator Corker as two men of the greatest conscience to have graced this chamber on either side of the aisle in a long time.
No surprise, Democrats are enjoying this Republican bickering. Harris?
Yeah, because their side never does that, right? Mike Emanuel, good to see you. My first guest is the candidate from Arizona who wants to replace Senator Flake in the Senate. Dr. Kelly Ward is a former Republican Arizona state senator, and now, of course, she's running for the U.S. Senate. Good to have you on the program. Thank you. Do you think that this is a win for President Trump? Is it, in fact, draining the swamp?
You know, it is the beginning of draining the swamp. I think it actually is a big win for the voters of Arizona, as well as the people of the United States, who are looking for strong conservative leaders who are going to put the president's America First agenda into policy. And I can't wait to get to Washington, D.C. I can't wait to follow the optimistic path that I laid out to be able to do the things that Arizonans and Americans are crying out for.
All right. You know, the flip of this is the fact that, and you heard Mike Emanuel's final words there, the Democrats get kind of feast over this. Is this risky or negative for the Republican agenda to have infighting between sitting members of Congress and the White House?
Well, you know, I wish there was more civility in our political process right now. But I will tell you that people, as they're sitting around their kitchen tables, as they're in diners, they're having this real conversation. They aren't speaking political speak. They're talking to each other in real ways, just like the president speaks, just like the way I do, because they want authentic, honest politicians, people who represent them, to go to Washington and do the job they were elected to do. And unfortunately, people have been there on both sides of the aisle for decade after decade after decade, have led to a lot of stagnation and the swamp that we see today. And I'm so glad to see that we are starting to drain it.
You know, Dr. Ward, I guess on the Senate and House floors, you see people very passionate making their cases. We're used to seeing that as an American public. Senator Flake, though, took to the Senate floor with some tough comments about the president. One would deduce, although he didn't name him. Was that bad form in terms of how we get things done on the Senate?
Well, it definitely wasn't a way to move things in the right direction. He used the same condescending, arrogant tone that he used in his book, that he's used since Donald Trump was part of the original 17 nominees for our party. He's been one of the original never Trumpers, and I think that movement is at its end. The voters of Arizona have spoken, just like Sarah Huckabee Sanders said. They don't want open borders, amnesty, excuse makers in Washington, D.C. on either side of the aisle. And so that's why there's so much excitement about my efforts to get to D.C. and do the job.
I will say this, Senator Flake, because I've looked up who voted most often with the president. He's up there with, above 90% having voted along the lines of the president's agenda. You know, next you talk about running. Reportedly, you will benefit immediately from Flake's exit, but there will be decidedly others potentially who will get into this race. Have you heard from, or do you know if the president is supportive of you in particular?
You know, I've heard the president loves me, is what I've heard, and I'm glad to hear that because I have been out here touting the secure borders, stop illegal immigration, get rid of Obamacare, fix the tax code, grow the economy, strengthen our military message that he has put forth on campaign trail and since he's been into Washington. And so I look forward to getting there and joining with him, partnering with him and other people who have strong conservative voices and messages of liberty and freedom to put this country on the right track and make America great again.
You know, no doubt you heard with the departure of Steve Bannon from the White House staff with the president, there's been some back and forth about, kicking certain senators out. The president has said, no, I don't want to wholesale kick out all GOP senators because there's some I like, so on and so forth, back and forth. It has been reported that Steve Bannon is a fan of yours. You talk out your own agenda. Do you have to jump on the Steve Bannon train if he backs you? What does that look like?
Well, I'm glad to have the support of Steve Bannon. He was just in Arizona last week with Laura Ingraham. We had an amazing kickoff event with over 1,000 energized, excited voters from Arizona who are ready to take this agenda to the next level. And I think that was one of the catalysts behind Senator Flake stepping out. He saw the decrease in his momentum and the extreme momentum that we have with our professional team, with the grassroots across the country, with our fundraising. Everything is in place to drain the swamp, to get me there, and for me to do the job.
You know, I'm curious. You took on John McCain, and some would say, well, she lost by double digits, but you actually lost within 11 points or so from a senator who'd been one for 30 years. He'd been in politics. And so there is kind of this idea, well, could you get closer this time? Because that made news. That certainly made history in a way, too. How has the landscape changed, or has it since you and John McCain were competitors?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people have buyer's remorse over John McCain going back to Washington, D.C. We saw him give that famous thumbs down on the repeal, the skinny repeal. We see him blocking Donald Trump's nominees for the Pentagon. We see him balking about tax reform, all the things that the voters in Arizona and the voters across the country want. And so taking on someone who is not performing is not anti-Republican, anti-party. It is pro-American. And we need some more Americanists in Washington, D.C.
All right. Before I let you go, I want to talk to you kind of about the umbrella picture. You have Senator Bob Corker. You've got Jeff Flake. They have 15 months left. Anybody have any ideas how they're going to vote, A? And B, what does this look like if you see others joining on that camp, for Congress?
Well, I mean, I certainly hope that Senator Corker and Senator Flake will do the right thing. Now they've lifted the political pressures off their backs, and they can actually do the right thing for the American people without having to worry about being reelected. And so I hope Jeff Flake in particular will champion the